burglary at his Palapala farm to the police in person. His legal counsel, Wim Trengove, contends that by reporting the crime to the head of the Presidential Protection Service, Wally Rhoda, Ramaphosa did not act in bad faith. Ramaphosa is challenging a parliamentary report that considered the events linked to the theft of US dollars from the farm in 2020. That report also suggests there are sufficient evidence holes for him to face impeachment over his conduct. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says when he reported the burglary to Major General Wally Rhoda, he expected him to take the necessary steps. His legal counsel, Wim Trengove, says Ramaphosa never expected Rhoda to investigate the crime, neither instructed him to do so.
It is a little bit absurd, with respect, to suggest, as the complainants did, that a president should go off to the police station to report to a member of the Hawks that there had been a break-in at his home.
Trengove has told the court Ramaphosa can't be held accountable for Rhoda's conduct in light of evidence that Rhoda conducted a clandestine search for the money that took him to Namibia.
One expects a president to be able to say to the general of police next to him, who is in charge of his security, to say to him, there has been this break-in, and to expect that the general would do whatever is necessary.
The hearing continues. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Western Cape High Court.
South Africa is amongst countries with the highest rates of organized infiltrated the criminal justice system.
There's much to say about Colombia as it compares to us. Mexico, Paraguay, Ecuador, so 4 Latin American countries, the Democratic Republic of Congo, then ourselves, then Nigeria, Lebanon, Turkey, Kenya, etc. What this effectively means is that South Africa is in the top 5% of all countries in the world in respect of criminal markets and actors as measured by the index.
The Johannesburg High Court has heard claims that one of the accused in the attempted murder case of alleged crime boss Vusimuzi Matlala, as well as others, tried to escape from custody. The alleged plot by Musa Kekana was hatched while he was lying handcuffed to a hospital bed and under police guard following his arrest in 2024. The Johannesburg High Court heard today that Kekana allegedly called on someone to remove him from the hospital, raising fears amongst the staff that a violent confrontation could erupt. State witness Dr. Pelele Mazibuko has been testifying in the trial within a trial today, where he read onto the record a note made by the night matron. Kekana, Matlala and 3 others accused face a combined 25 charges, including attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Dr. Vilagazi was responding to a clarity-seeking question from Judge Kasim Musa.
The concern was from the night staff and the matrons that there might be a dangerous exchange, and then they would implement certain checks and upscale the security for the night. The nurses were concerned that the accused would ask people to remove him forcibly from the hospital.
More than 140,000 candidates from various political parties have submitted their nominations to contest the upcoming local government elections. The candidates will be competing for only 10,500 seats, which are up for grabs in municipal councils across the country. Parties and independent candidates had until last week Friday to submit their lists and nominations for the polls. IEC chairperson Mosotho Moepya says the candidates will now be vetted by the Electoral Commission.
The immediate task of the Electoral Commission now is to review the submission for compliance with the legislative requirements governing candidate nominations. This includes, among others, checking whether 1, candidate had completed acceptance nomination forms, 2, political parties and independent candidates had paid the applicable deposits.
And 22 people have been killed following a bus crash in Egypt. According to reports, the bus was Amman bound from Cairo when it overturned. The 29 victims include 10 Jordanians. 29 other people have been rushed to the hospital for treatment. Gold is trading at $4,310.46 an ounce. The rand is at 16.16 to the dollar, 21.80 to the pound, 18.70 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $94.78 a barrel.
Well, at this stage in the Midrand area, we still have slow-moving traffic on the N1 northbound. This is between the Butlu Interchange and New Road due to an earlier accident. Also driving through four ways. Slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen and Uranium.
In your sports, Orlando Pirates hammer Kruger United to move 3 points clear at the top of the Betway Premiership standings. The One-Day Pretorius' T20 career best figures secures Proteas' win over Zimbabwe. And Springbok hooker Johan Grobler signs a contract extension with the Bulls.
It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 27 and 29 degrees. The top story in EWN, the Western Cape High Court has heard that it would have been absurd to have expected the president to report the burglary at his Palapala farm to the police in person.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
A very good afternoon, everyone. It is 10 minutes past 3 on Wednesday, the 2nd of September. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Welcome to the show. Lawyers representing President Cyril Ramaphosa are in the Western Cape High Court today, seeking to have the Section 89 independent panel report on Palapala set aside. Court is currently in session, as you heard a moment ago from Mbali Dlamini. Our EWN colleague Lindsay Dentlinger is listening closely. She'll join us after 5 with her take on what's gone down on day one. The Independent Electoral Commission has completed the candidate nomination process. The start line for the November polls is extremely crowded. More than 140,000 candidates are vying for 10,500 councillor seats. More details on what needs to happen next. We'll talk to the IEC after 5. The Department of Basic Education has concluded an investigation into a controversial procurement process for foundation-level teaching material. Minister Siviwe Gwachube joins us after 4. We'll ask her about the findings of that investigation, but also engage with her on some numbers she's just put out on how much money would be needed to actually fix up physically South Africa's schools. 120 billion rand. It's almost like saying, well, this is something we can't really do. Certainly not all at once. Minister with us, as I said, in about an hour's time. And why don't supermarkets do more to promote South African agricultural goods? I am generalizing here, but agricultural economist Johan Kirsten is taking issue with a promotion that focuses on Italian goods and asks, well, why aren't we doing the same thing for rooibos tea and Karoo lamb? It's a nice topic. Very interesting one indeed, and we'll do that at 10 to 5. We'll have music later in the show. Yesterday was Spring Day. A nice warm Wednesday has confirmed that it is actually spring. What song for you says spring really, properly and completely has sprung? Refuwe Lutsua picking out Natasha Bedingfield's song that you heard a little bit of there, Pocket of Sunshine. Yours, please, your song that for you is something maybe you play as soon as the weather looks like it's not only getting warmer but staying warmer, or whatever you associate with spring. Could be hay fever, could be anything at all. Call us on 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. On the markets, the JSE is down again today. The all-share off by 475 points so far. Aspen is having another difficult day after struggling yesterday. down by 6.2%. Resilient has lost 4.2%. Pick and Pay is off by 3.1%. Better news for Sibanye, which has gained 5.3%. Tungela's up by 3.9%. Telkom is 1.8% to the good. Our currency, nice day actually for the rand, trading at 16.10 against the dollar. The rand strengthening by 6 cents over the past 24 hours. 18 Rand 64 will get you a euro. 9 cents stronger again for the rand on yesterday. 21 Rand 86 is the current price of a pound, and that's again too 15 cents from this time yesterday. The oil price remains high, but there is some kind of modest relief, I suppose. Brent crude down by $1.03 a barrel, currently priced at $93.71. Stephen Curtis in at 4:25. With the market news, we'll get sport with Tolakele Mganga, and Karabo Chale is with us with the traffic news. And Mpali Dlamini back at 3:30 with the latest news headlines. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live. If it's happening in 702 land, we'll bring it to you as soon as we possibly can. But there are things that you see, things you know about, things in your neighborhood, things in your network that maybe can help us understand things better. Give us a call or drop us a voice note on 072 702 1702. Or if you'd like to speak to us and chat, 011 883 0702. This is 702 Drive. It's 14 minutes past 3.
John Perlman
On 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Yesterday we were talking about clearing out stuff. Again, I suppose hanging on to the theme of spring and talking about spring cleaning. And we asked you about things that you would chuck out, either physical goods or stuff that you're just going to say, you know what, I'm not thinking about that anymore. I'm not talking about that anymore. So an emotional spring cleaning was also on the cards, and some of you shared some really interesting things. Now, in the course of that, it made me think about school stuff, school nostalgia stuff, and in particular school prizes. Which of your school prizes have you actually kept, and why? And what's your memory of winning them? I made reference a little while back to, I think I got 3rd place in the 3-legged race once at the school sports days. And I've got a few more auspicious prizes, some good stuff for academic achievement. And I actually won a tennis tournament. Can you believe it? But at a certain point, I just decided I'm not keeping any of this stuff. And I do not know what I did with it. All I know is that I no longer have it. Did I put it in a box? Maybe in a slightly maudlin or moment, or perhaps a bit of dronkverdriet, and decided, you know what, all in a box, put it out with the trash. I don't recall anything very bitter or flamboyant in that regard. But that's my story. Yours, please. School prizes, what have you kept and why? And do, if you want to, tell us a massively exaggerated version of how you won the prize. We'll see if we can find the music either from Chariots of Fire or Rocky, and we'll play it in the background. But seriously, send us your tales. How about you, Rifue Litsuas, feeling all springy with Natasha Bedingfield? How about stuff you won at school? Is there a good pile, and where is it?
Good afternoon, John, and to the rest of the 702 family. So my mother kept everything. She's got boxes and files. So she's also like laminated like the certificates. She's got the newspaper clippings. I mean, I was quite the overachiever.
Okay.
You know, and I say that very proudly because that's how she pushed us. All of us were overachievers. So what she does even now, when family comes over, let's say we haven't seen our extended family in a while, she'll bring out the files, the boxes, and then she'll say, Rifi, she calls me Rifi, tea. And then she just says,
bring the tea.
Bring the tea. And
Yes.
then we would have baked for them, and they'll spend 2 hours. Oh, refuel was this small. I wasn't born this big. So I had things from athletics to, because I played provincial judo. I had judo.
Okay.
There was, what was that thing? Spelling bee competition. So
Yes.
I won that. And there was just medals for, like, you know, when you're in grade 1, everyone got a medal. So I still have my grade 1 medals. There's a lot. I think when you do one day visit, guys, I am going to, in my mother's words, Rifiti, bring out the tea, and we're just going to go down memory lane.
that'll be
and it's a bit embarrassing. It's like, Oh, fifth place.
Slip something
Hey.
slip something into the tea. I mean, if
got
it's
you.
going to be 2 hours.
I got the memo. I got you. Something very
No,
strong.
but seriously, you sound like not just like an achiever, but an
Yeah.
overachiever. Karabo Charlie, have you kept trophies, medals,
Yes.
reports, certificates?
Not an overachiever like my colleague here, but yeah, my parents also try to keep as much as they could.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. If you go to my parents' house in Germiston and you go into the living room divider, you'll see all the trophies and the medals from when I was playing club soccer.
Okay.
From Germiston FC. I started when I was like 8 years old, and we still have those trophies. Nothing special. It's mostly just participating. And then I also kept the Toastmasters certificate. I think it was a gold certificate where I was like one of the best speakers of the evening. Very proud of that. And then the one at school, there's my blazer, my high school blazer. A lot of kids had a lot of scrolls and stuff.
Yes.
I have just a tennis badge, and I was proud of that because that was like my favorite sport, and I did well in that. It's the only thing I have. But the ones that I cherish, right, John? And
Yes.
there's a reason for it. It's my reports, school reports from as far as primary school until now. And why I keep them is because I want to compare my report with my son's report and see how it goes.
Is the
And
format similar, do you think?
not at all. He's doing much better than me. I think
But I mean, do they? Will you be comparing like with like?
Yes.
Okay.
The format is exactly the same. You've got your
Okay.
grades, and then you've got your teachers' comments on
right.
what kind of a kid you
Yeah,
are and stuff
I
like that.
remember
And
those,
so
yeah.
far, he's more well-behaved and doing much better than I was.
You might
doing.
need you might need the Tipex as he gets older and add a few comments of your own or footnotes at the back. So please do send it to us on 011 883 0702 072 702 1702. What have you kept in regard to the stuff that you won at school, and why did you keep it, and where is it now? And do you bring it out when relatives pop round? It's a good opportunity to perhaps warn relatives you haven't seen for a while that this box could be coming out into the middle of the table with the tea. 20 minutes past 3. Let's find out what's happening on the roads. Karabo.
Well, at this stage, John, we still have that accident seen in the Midrand area. This is on the N1 South before the Patloo interchange, causing delays all the way from New Road. There's also slow-moving traffic in the opposite direction. This is N1 northbound between the Patloo interchange and Allendale. In four ways, there's slow-moving traffic. This is on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen and Uranium. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Lone Hill at Main Road and Lone Hill Boulevard. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Aubrey Masango,
Weekday evenings.
8 to midnight.
Human rights and Ubuntu are not the same thing. In the same way that Zionism and Judaism are not the same thing. In the same way that Islam and jihadism are not the same thing. African solidarity and love for one another is not the same thing as this thing that we have now been told is African solidarity and love called Pan-Africanism. It's not the same thing. That other one has got a political agenda that serves a small group of people, takes away from the owners and keeps them gaslit so that when they raise issues of service delivery and lack of governance, they are told that you don't love your brother because you are not Pan-Africanist enough. Until Africans begin to push back and say, we know Ubuntu. It is not this thing.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Why can't Joburg keep our taps running? What needs to be done to fix our city's water supply? Can it be rectified, or are we doomed to run dry? If you want to know more about these issues, stream the Joburg Dialogues on Thursday at 6 p.m. The first in the series this Thursday focuses on what is happening with Joburg Water. Register to join online on ourcitynews.co.za. It's on Thursday at 6 p.m. The Joburg Dialogues, hosted by Our City News and the Johannesburg Business School.
Feel the suspense when you unravel the riddle and embark on amazing adventures with Hollywood Bets and Spinner Zonke Mystery Parcel. You could win your share of 1 million rand in cash and bonus bets when you unlock the prize in the parcel. Bet R2 or more on selected Playtech slots every Sunday and Wednesday between 8 a.m. and 11:59 p.m. Available now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Dad, how come Mom's not coming to my soccer game?
Well, Mom isn't allowed to come to your soccer games anymore.
Is it because she tried to tackle Coach KB for giving me a red card?
Maybe.
Humans who fiercely protect the people they love. Welcome. Search Liberty Protect to protect your life and legacy today. Liberty, in it with you, all of you. Liberty Group Limited, a licensed life insurer, an authorized FSP and part of the Standard Bank Group. T's and C's, risks and limitations apply.
John Perlman
On 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
702 Drive, it's 24 minutes past 3. Let's go to the courts then. A very important trial within a trial, I think it's fair to call it, going on in the Johannesburg High Court. This all in regard to the court appearance of Vusimuzi Katmatlala and 3 others accused, facing a combined 25 charges, including attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder. So what's going on with this particular trial? Let's find out and welcome Dimakatso Leshoro, EWN reporter who's been keeping a close eye on things. Dimakatso, very good afternoon to you. Before you talk about what the court heard today, set the scene for us. What are they busy with at the moment? Good afternoon.
Hi, John. So this is the Matlala trial where he's accused number 3 along with 4 others. They are accused of attempting to murder 3 people, but there are others that are involved in those shootings. So as a result, they're facing 11 counts of attempted murder. These have to do with the shooting incidents between 2022 and 2024 that involve Joe Sibanyoni, DJ Vetis, as well as Tebogo Tobejane. Excuse me. So what has happened is that the trial started last month, it took a break, and we have resumed this week. So where we are now is what you have mentioned, a trial within a trial, and that arose because the defense for accused 1, this is Musa Kekana, are questioning or challenging the circumstances of Musa Kekana's arrest and the admissibility of that evidence. And the reason they are doing that is because they are alleging that Musa Kekana was assaulted. His house, was searched without a warrant. There was no arrest warrant. There was no reason, they alleged, for the police to even approach the vehicle that he was in and effect that arrest. And that arrest came as a result of a killing in Vereeniging, where an engineer we know, Aman Swart, was killed in what is believed to have been a mistaken shooting. So where we are now is the state has been producing these witnesses to try and rebuff these allegations that police assaulted Musa Kekana. We've heard evidence or his version being read into the record that he was suffocated with a plastic bag being tied, his hands and feet behind his back and a knee on his back, pressed on his back, and suffocated 5 times with this plastic bag, saying that as a result of that, then he started coughing up blood, and paramedics were needed to be called because he wasn't breathing properly, he was coughing up blood, and as a result he ended up in hospital. So what we've heard evidence from is from the police officers who effected the arrest on the day, and this week we've been hearing evidence from the medical personnel that attended to him. The paramedic who was at the scene, who was called, came in an ambulance, was there yesterday, and today we've heard evidence from a second doctor that treated him at the Edenvale hospital where he was kept, John. So basically today, the nub of the issue was an issue which was interestingly raised by the lawyer for accused number 3, that is Vusimuzi Matlala. So the way they work, the lawyers, is like a tag team. So, yes, if one is cross-examining this doctor, all of them will get a bite at the cherry. And she introduced evidence that actually the lawyer for Kekana had not bothered to look at, which was that the night staff at the hospital called the doctor raising concerns about what they heard. And what they heard was that Mosakekana had called someone to come and try and forcibly remove him from the hospital. Remember, at this point, before he was admitted in hospital, he had been arrested. Therefore, he was handcuffed to a bed. He was under police guard. There were police there, but obviously it was limited police and, just staff. So there was this whole arrangement that he was trying to make to come to have people, his friends or whoever, we don't know, to allegedly try and break him out of the hospital. So the lawyer for Matlala mistakenly believed that it was the police who were trying to forcibly remove him to the hospital to take him to the cells before the treatment was concluded. And this is how this whole thing came about, where the doctor actually clarified that, in fact, he was the one who allegedly had planned this whole escape. And then, the thing just went up to the judge questioning, wanting clarity from the witness about this, and the lawyer for accused one, Advocate Facing, objecting and accusing the courts of entering the arena and asking inappropriate questions, because obviously they were hoping to suppress the fact that, Musa Kekana had allegedly attempted to escape from prison. Hospital.
Thank you so much. Dimakatso Lishoro, EWN reporter with an update on that particular court case. 702 Drive still to come on the show. We're going to be chatting to the Deputy Minister of Labour, Jomo Sibia. He, amongst others, were out in the north side of Johannesburg today, and they were attending a raid on a construction site. The subcontractors at that site in Riversands in Midrand were being blamed for hiring undocumented foreigners. There's some interesting issues that arise out of that, but one of the key things for me is we see these raids quite a lot. We've had them down in KZN, particularly in factories. Now this is focusing on the construction industry, and I'm wondering, what is the purpose of these? Because my understanding, we have a massive shortage of labour inspectors. If you are to have any kind of sustained engagement with the problem, surely the priority is to address that particular need. There seems to me, at least, to be something rather performative about these interventions. Yes, a number of people get arrested, number of companies get into a little bit of trouble, but I'm keen to know what part, if any, does this form of a strategy that actually addresses the problem in a more systematic and sustainable way. Deputy Minister with us at 10 to 4. It's 3:30. Right, let's get the very latest eyewitness news. Here is Mbali Dlamini. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Well, the eThekwini Metro Police Department is taking action against a junior employee who received about 420,000 rand from 71 people after promising them jobs. The municipality updated the media in Durban today following corruption allegations around the recruitment of Metro Police officers. The Metro has downplayed the allegations, saying they are not as widespread as purported to be on social media. Tabiso Goba reports.
In June this year, the eThekwini municipality received a forensic report from the accounting firm Isiqu on allegations of a jobs for sale scam in its Metro Police recruitment drive. The report, which was commissioned by the municipality, found one employee was paid 420,000 rand by 71 people who wanted to become Metro Police officers. eThekwini's Metro Police Chief, Sibonelo Mchunu,
apparently is not even a part of the recruitment team. He was just a worker working there at the park. He was just monitoring the process and scamming people outside.
Mchunu says Metro Police jobs are not for sale and has urged people who are being sold these jobs to come forward. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News, Durban.
Parliament's Joint Standing Committee on Defence has elected a new co-chairperson following the sudden removal of Malusi Gigaba from that position. His sudden removal has led to a fallout with members from the committee clashing over the ANC's failure to provide reasons for his axing. Gigaba has been replaced by ANC MP Mzimasi Hala. Babalondenze has more.
ANC MP Malusi Gigaba was elected co-chairperson of the Joint Standing Committee on Defence from the National Assembly component not long after the 2024 elections. While the ANC provided no reasons for his removal today, the EFF had earlier called for him to step down as he faces formal charges of corruption in relation to a Transnet contract. Co-chairperson Pirowa Nepala announced his removal.
We must just explain that our co-chair, Dr. Gigaba, has been relieved from his responsibilities.
But committee member Emma Powell questioned how the vacancy arose and whether it was procedural.
Has a formal letter of resignation from the Honourable Gigaba been received by this committee? Secondly, was there an ATC announcing the vacancy of the chairperson?
ANC MP Wendy Plaatjes says the ANC doesn't owe an explanation.
Why is she so interested to ask about Honorable Gigaba? It's party matter, finish and clear.
Babalo Ndanze, Eyewitness News.
And in the Czech Republic, the remains of a former foreign minister have now been exhumed. Jan Masaryk died under suspicious circumstances shortly after a 1948 communist coup. Police say they exhumed the remains because they believe this will help clarify the circumstances behind the foreign minister's death. Police have reviewed the case several times since the communist government was toppled in the Velvet Revolution in 1989. Well, it's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 27 and 29 degrees.
Well, at this stage in the Fourways area, we still have slow-moving traffic. This is on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Uranium, Bryanston heading towards Fourways. Traffic is already building up. This is on the N1 southbound between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive.
The top story in EWN, the eThekwini Metro Police Department is taking action against a junior employee who received around 420,000 rand from 71 people after promising them jobs.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Brigadier, good work being done in this case by the police.
Great detective work. When you look at the complexity of this particular case, Rasim Kuna has been linked to at least 25 cases. Quite interestingly, he only started committing murders when he was released on parole in January 2022. So really great detective work from our police officers that worked tirelessly to link this particular case.
Brigadier Klende Mate, SAP's national spokesperson.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Step into a world of enchantment with the Royal Countess Zingara in Melrose Arch, where spellbinding performance art, decadent dining and whimsical wonder combine in a breathtaking experience. Plus, it's the perfect place to host your year-end celebration while enjoying a night of mystery, mischief and magic. Bookings for October to December open on 1 September at zingara.co.za, or you can call them 021 891 0448.
They said you were too small, not worth their time. But you built anyway, made a plan, made another plan. Today, Yoko frees you from survival mode, so you can breathe again. Make smarter calls and do what you love. We once gave you access. Now we're giving you tools to compete with the big guys. Yoko, let's grow.
At Crawford International, confidence is built every day. We're encouraged to find our voice, think independently, and lead with courage, integrity, and compassion. In the classroom, on the sports field, and beyond. We learn to step forward, embrace opportunity, and make a meaningful difference. Crawford International, building global leaders. Join us for Open Day on 5 September and experience how we develop confident students ready to lead in a global world.
Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 powered by Yoko are back to celebrate the independent local businesses that have become part of our everyday lives. You know the ones, the coffee shop that knows your order, the salon you've trusted for years, the restaurant where every family celebration happens year after year. If they've earned your business and loyalty, they have earned your nomination. So please go to primemediaplus.com to view the categories and make your nomination today. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702, powered by Yoko, the all-in-one commerce platform for independent businesses. Yoko, let's grow on 702 and primemediaplus.com.
Global trade is changing, and businesses are having to change with it. From tariffs and geopolitical tensions to shifting supply chains and new trade corridors, uncertainty is becoming part of doing business. Catch 702 in conversation with Nedbank on the Clement Mangatela Show tomorrow as we unpack what these changes mean for businesses, where new opportunities are emerging, and why Africa remains an important part of the global trade story. That's the Clement Mangatela Show in conversation with Nedbank. This Thursday from 9 a.m. only on 702.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, Tata John. My son is 28 years old now, and I've kept his first Pampers. The first pack I bought, the newborn one, I took one off, which I still kept until today. So that's what it will be my surprise on his wedding day. If they give me a speech, so I'll pull out and show his guest his first Pampers, the small one. And all his Father's Day, from the creche, the messages he have been bringing to me, I still kept everything, including his reports. Yeah. Thank you. CM in Joburg.
John, so the one thing our school used to do way back in the day is that for accolades and achievements and things like that, they'd hand out prizing in the form of a book prize. They put your name and what the prize was for and everything in the front of the cover, and I have the privilege now of sharing that with my daughter while we're reading bedtime stories and everything. So, yeah, kept because sentimental and now due purpose. I think that's a pretty awesome thing. Jules from Rustenburg.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting thing. The different kinds of prizes schools award. I don't think we had book prizes. Maybe we did. Maybe we did, and I just didn't win any. Anyway, but prizes that you won while you were at school, trophies or whatever, have you kept them? And if so, which ones? And if so, why? Give us a ring on that on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Speaking of playing for prizes and trophies, let's do the first of today's sports bulletins.
EWN Sport.
Tolakele, Orlando Pirates, very difficult to beat on the road, it would seem.
Absolutely, John. And they're now 3 points clear at the top of the Betway Premiership standings following their 4-0 away win to Kruger United. Despite a lackluster showing from Abdeslam Modu's Buccaneers, that victory extended their unbeaten streak away from home to 17 games.
Well done for the boys. We cannot all the time propose some nice football. I think we were very efficient today. We came here as a mission. It was to win, to take 3 points. We scored 4 goals. We didn't concede goal. I think it's a successful mission for my boys. Well done for them. And of course, there is all the time room for improvement.
Mamelodi Sundowns can draw level with the defending champions at the top. That's with the win over Milford tonight. Malbongwe Khoza concedes that while the Brazilians are favoured on paper, they cannot underestimate their opponents who've won 2 of their opening 4 games.
Of course, from the side, we're expecting a very energetic team, a very counter-attacking play. And I think they're going to come with a lot of energy. So I think we're very, very ready for them, and we're going to give our all for our supporters.
Loandre Pretorius laid a solid foundation for the Proteas, who held their nerve to claim a 43-run win over Zimbabwe. Pretorius smashed a T20 career best 94 runs or 51 balls as South Africa posted 185 for 7. And in response, Zim's batting order struggled as they were bowled out for 142 in the 18th over. Pretorius is now hoping that his showing in this tri-series can see him selected for the upcoming clashes against Australia and England.
Every series is different squad, so your aim is obviously to be in the squad for the Proteas. But I'm still 20 years old, so I'm just trying to learn as much as I can and take every opportunity with every squad I'm fortunate enough to be in. If I'm not in the squads, I'll play domestic cricket, play Red Bull, which I'm really excited about. So it's a win-win, and yeah, it's just good. It's very fortunate and lucky, and I'm really enjoying it.
Both the Springboks and the All Blacks continue to prepare for the third test of rugby's greatest rivalry at the FNB Stadium on Saturday. With the series level at 1-1, New Zealand centre Anton Leonard-Brown has discussed what it will take for them to win the third clash.
We all understand what it takes to play a South African team in South Africa, so obviously you need to put in the work physically, and that's what we're doing out here on the training field, but also mentally build it during the week. We certainly don't want to run a race early. We've got to make sure that on Saturday, physically and mentally, we're at 100%.
And the Bulls hooker Johan Grobler has signed a contract extension to keep him at Loftus Versfeld until 2030. Grobler made his debut in 2017 and has developed into one of the most reliable and dynamic hookers in world rugby. He's also gone on to amass over 100 appearances in the blue jersey. Tholakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Okay, let's find out what's happening out on the roads. Karabo Charlie, I don't know if we're busy yet or not. What's the latest?
Certainly getting busy, John. Let me start in the Bryanston area where there's already slow-moving traffic heading towards four-ways N1 South from Rivonia Road to Winnie Mandela Drive. In Midrand, there's also traffic pressure on the N1 southbound from Samrand to New Road, leaving Sandton heading towards the M1 bumper-to-bumper traffic on Catherine Street between Rivonia Road and Greyston. Traffic is also heavily backed up leaving Sandton on Greyston Drive. This is between Benmore Road and Catherine Street. And look out for those faulty traffic lights in Linwood, at Linwood Road and Main Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Perlman
On 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
702 Drive now. It's 16 minutes to 4. Tola Kelly, we were asking about prizes you won at school. Could be for sport, could be for drama or dance or attendance or whatever it might be. Have you kept them? And if so, which ones did you keep and why?
I've kept all of them.
Okay.
In primary and high school, I won. In primary, my favorite one was when I did Eisteddford, and I got bronze in poetry. And I just knew that, I just really liked to read, and I was good at remembering poetry and enunciating and all of that. That's my favorite one. I got every year until grade 7, I got perfect attendance with other awards like best reader, all of those things.
Yes.
Yeah, because grade 7, I was starting to wild, and that's when I started realizing that you can actually go a day without going to school, and no one is going to miss you. And that was hilarious. I also got colors, both in high school and in primary school. In primary, I got for netball. Then in high school, I got for tennis. Yeah.
Okay, so when you say colors, would that be your blazer would be a specific blazer?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You start with half colors, which was just the badge, and then when you get full colors, you get the trimming on your blazer.
Okay, and tell me this: are they in your cupboard?
All my certificates are in a file. I have them from grade 1 until matric, and then if I have a badge for colors, at Dinwiddie Primary, so you get green, yellow. There's also another color I forget.
I think it was orange.
Yes. So you get for all the good merits that you get little badges. I still have all of those badges. If I really, really, really like a report, I keep it in my memory box. So all of them are just sitting there. I still have my belt for when I was a prefect in primary school. I kept it. The dresses are no longer there, but the belt, because they put orange stitching around your belt. So I also kept that.
Yo, okay, so you, Refu, and Mr. Charlie as well. I was just saying I have nothing.
No way.
I've kept nothing. I have kept nothing.
Wow.
When my parents passed away, my dad was first, my mom later. So the real clearing up and clearing out of the house was after my mom passed. And there were school reports there, and I looked at them out of curiosity. They may still be there somewhere in a box because they didn't live in Joburg, and I haven't been down to their old house for a while, so I must double check. But yeah, I didn't keep anything.
You know, John, I would always advise parents to keep these sort of memories, because we only ever see a parent as a parent.
Yes,
but it's so nice when they tell you, in primary I played netball, and then you see all these funny pictures. It's also just a chance for you to kind of get the full character, but also it's a reminder for the individual themselves when you're having a really low day. Hey, once upon a time, you were faster than Usain Bolt. Celebrate that.
I'm not sure.
Well, you were faster than Usain Bolt was at that age, but I'm not sure whether that, certainly in my case, sustained into the latter part of my life and the crucial years of athletic achievement in your 20s. But yeah, your stories, please. It's an interesting one. Give us a ring on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. 13 minutes to 4.
Drive home with John Perlman
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
Well, earlier today, a number of senior government officials were involved in a visit to Joburg construction sites, in particular a large one in River Sands in Midrand. And in the course of this, what do we call it, blitz raid, my guest will clarify that in a moment. They visited the Century Property construction site. There are 17 subcontractors who are working there, according to news reports, and they found that large numbers of the people working there were undocumented foreign nationals working in South Africa and therefore working illegally. One of the people participating was Deputy Minister of Labour, Jomo Sibia, and he's with us now. Deputy Minister, welcome and thanks very much for your time. What is the purpose of this raid and indeed other raids similar to it? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John, to you and your listeners at home. This was one of the operations that I would say was an epic, because what we found today was just something that, I'll be honest, I never expected. We knew that we were going to a site where there is quite a number of other non-compliance activities that are happening, but we never expected that when we arrive, we'll find such a big site where there's a lot of construction work that is being done. A lot of people are employed there. But what was fascinating, in fact, for a lack of a better word, but something that really was very sad, is that you still have employers who want to continue to employ illegal foreign immigrants in our country in huge numbers, John. We had, if I can tell you, maybe on that site, there were about 500 workers who were working on the site, and I can assure you that about 300 of them were illegal foreign immigrants. And that is just something else, something that you don't expect, that at this day and age, and with all that this country is faced with, the level of unemployment is high, and you still have people who are employing illegal foreign immigrants in such huge numbers.
So, Deputy Minister, I mean, the skeptics would say in February, we had the President Cyril Ramaphosa in his State of the Nation address promising that the government would recruit 10,000 additional labour inspectors. We had your senior, the Employment and Labour Minister, Noma Nkosazana Meth, saying that 5 billion rand has been set aside to actually start recruiting the inspectors and putting them in place. And my understanding is to date, we don't have any of those new inspectors. What would you say to the argument that, let's call it a raid, actions, let me use a neutral word, actions like today's are largely performative? It's government trying to show they're doing something, but the actual retooling of your department to make a daily and sustainable difference is simply not happening.
Thank you, John. Let me tell you, I'm delegated with the responsibility of inspection and enforcement in the department.
Right.
We do this work literally every day. Last week, personally, just last week on Friday, we're in Johannesburg again, around what is this place? We were around Centre.
Right.
We arrested again about 69 illegal foreign immigrants. We were having the very same operation. We are doing these operations every day. I do these operations personally with the department, SAPS, Home Affairs, and the city of Johannesburg. But wherever we go, we involve all these three departments, in particular, the Department of Home Affairs and SAPS and Department of Employment and Labour. Every week we're out there doing this work. I can tell you every week where I was, myself,
yes,
let alone the inspectors themselves, every day they are out there. Yes, what we can say is that the number is not enough, and what we are raising with what the President pronounced on, yes, we haven't recruited an inspector up to date, but we have to do quite a lot of groundwork, John. We have to make sure that in a department with about 9,000 employees, you must put systems on the ground. You must make sure that accommodation is provided. These people are going to come. These inspectors are going to come to the department. They need offices. They need cars. Our system in terms of ICT, we need to deal with it. It must be, the capacity must be expanded. It must be bigger than what it is. So we have to do all those things to put systems in place. We are bringing a number that is going to double the workforce that we have. We've got 9,000. we're bringing 10,000. So we had to do all what we had to do. We are working on it. I can assure you. Just yesterday, we had a meeting in the morning to deal with some of the issues the gaps we had in terms of recruitment that we need to do. We'll be recruiting very soon. What was the final stage?
What does very soon mean? I mean, Deputy Minister, I think the issue that people have, and I can't speak for everyone, but I think a significant number of people may be thinking about the same questions that I'm asking. Why make these announcements if you're not ready? And say 10,000 labour inspectors are coming, creating an impression that there's going to be an army of people checking this breach of our labour laws, checking what you say is an undermining of the rights of South Africans to work. And between February and now, which is a substantial period of time, we're talking now nearly 7 months, it's clear that at the time the President made the promise, nothing was in place.
Remember, the President will issue instructions. And ours is to make sure that we execute what the President has pronounced on.
Yes.
Yes, when the President pronounced on the inspectors, we had to start doing the work. It's not like when he pronounced, then a lot of work has been done. But he pronounces, and then we must start actioning President's pronouncement and execute it. So that's what we've been doing. I understand that the criticism is valid. I can't say people are raising criticism that is not valid. It's valid. Even what we are saying is valid. But we are working on the recruitment. We've done, in terms of putting systems in place, 99% has been done. That's why we'll be as you say, how soon? I can assure you that in the next 2 months, we'll be starting to recruit. Remember, when you do recruitment again, you need to make sure that you recruit the right people with the right skills. And what you put in your advert must really give you what you need to deal with the challenges that are faced with on the ground. So we're dealing with it.
Deputy Minister, I don't know if you're old enough to remember a game called Whack-A-Mole, but it was a thing that you would get in arcades, and you had a rubber hammer, and in front of you was a thing. I don't know if you ever saw it or played it or anything, but these moles would pop up, and if you hit them, they disappear. But then very quickly, 5 or 6 moles actually disappear. This thing of going and raiding construction sites and making arrests, I mean, for example, what is the maximum penalty that a construction company might pay? And I ask that in the context of what I've just described, that yes, you may displace the problem, but arguably this isn't really going to solve it, is it?
I think it's a combination of a few things. One, we need to make sure that as South Africans as the society, we are patriotic to our own country. Having employers who are so unpatriotic, who continue to undermine the laws of their own republic, their own country, and not comply with the labor laws and the immigration laws, it becomes a problem where, as the society, we need to start asking ourselves a question. The issue of non-compliance in our country, John, you'll know it. In general, there is a high level of non-compliance in our country, whether you talk about bylaws in the municipality, traffic laws on the road, labor laws, you can talk about immigration laws. We need, as the society, to deal with the issue of compliance and the issue of being patriotic in our
country. But if I can jump in there, Deputy Minister, and return to my question. I mean, yes, those appeals will go out. Some might heed them. I suspect many will not. But the best way, some people would argue, to get compliance is for there to be consequence. So my question again, I mean, the companies yesterday who you found employing illegal people, what is the worst thing that can happen to them? I mean, what's the sternest punishment they might face?
Let me answer you quickly on that one. I was going there. Per illegal foreign immigrant, we arrested 49 today. Per illegal foreign immigrant, the employer is going to be fined 10,000 rand per illegal foreign immigrant, meaning it's 490,000. But now what we are doing is that we are taking a bill, Employment Services Bill, Amendment Bill to Parliament, coming to you to comment on it. We are proposing on that bill that every employer who has employed illegal foreign immigrant must pay 100,000 per illegal foreign immigrant. If a repeat offender, it's 200,000. If you offend for the third time, we're taking it to 1 million. we criminally charge you, you are prosecuted. So you can see that now we are changing, what you are raising is correct, that maybe the fines are not enough. So we're changing the fines, we're making sure that it becomes punitive, not to comply with our labor laws and immigration laws, because that is very, very important. But also we need to stop the demand. That's why we are now dealing with the employer. These fines are going directly to the employer, to the pocket of the employer, so that we cut the demand, because it's the employer who's creating this demand for illegal foreign immigrants to continue coming into our country. They know they are going to be employed illegal as they are. So we are dealing now directly with those who are employing them.
Jomo Sibia, thank you, is Deputy Minister of Labour, joining us right here on 702 Drive. Maybe you've witnessed some of these raids. Give us your view. Do they make any kind of difference, or is this a displacement of a problem? Maybe the odd ripple of consequence here, or do you think it is starting to actually make a difference and register? Give us your thoughts. 072702 1702 and 011 883 0702. 2 minutes to 4.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
Opposition parties in Parliament's impeachment committee have accused the ANC of delaying tactics after a majority vote rescinded the recommendation of Thandazani Madonsela as evidence leader. The Section 89 inquiry, which will probe events related to the theft of US dollars from the president's Phala Phala farm, was expected to finalize the decision at a meeting yesterday. Ramaphosa has objected to Madonsela's appointment, believing he's conflicted over work done for the ANC and his removal by Ramaphosa from the Judicial Service Commission.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Due to forecasts of torrential rain this weekend, Nyrox has regrettably rescheduled this year's Spring Jazz concert to Sunday, 13 September. This is to ensure the best possible experience for their audience, artists and sponsors. All purchased tickets for the original date do remain valid for the new date. For ticket holders unable to attend the new date, refunds are available through the Howler ticketing channel. Kindly email support@howler.co.za. Tickets for the 13th of September can be purchased through Howler. Limited final admission tickets available for the new date from www.nyroxarts.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of business execution finally visible. No more chasing people and reports, no more disconnected systems, no more guessing if our business is performing or not. iStratGo connects strategy, people, performance, and day-to-day work into one clear software platform, so leaders can see what's working, what's not, and where to focus. Because when execution is visible, everything runs better. Book a demo on istratgo.com. istratgo.com.
This is EWN.
Ramaphosa's lawyers tell the court he had no ill intent in Phala Phala matter, and the IEC says its deadlines are non-negotiable. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The Western Cape High Court has heard that it would have been absurd to expect President Cyril Ramaphosa to report the burglary at his Phala Phala farm to the police in person. His legal counsel, Wim Trengrove, contends that by reporting the crime to the head of the Presidential Protection Service, Wally Rhoda, Ramaphosa did not act in bad faith. Ramaphosa is challenging a parliamentary report that considered the events linked to the theft of US dollars from the farm in 2020. That report also suggests there's sufficient evidence for him to face impeachment over his conduct. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says when he reported the burglary to Major General Wally Rhoda, he expected him to take the necessary steps. His legal counsel, Wim Trengrove, says Ramaphosa never expected Rhoda to investigate the crime, neither instructed him to do so.
It is a little bit absurd, with respect, to suggest, as the complainants did, that a president should go off to the police station to report to a member of the Hawks that there'd been a break-in at his home.
Trengrove has told the court Ramaphosa can't be held accountable for Rhoda's conduct in light of evidence that Rhoda conducted a clandestine search for the money that took him to Namibia.
One expects a president to be able to say to the general of police next to him, who is in charge of his security, to say to him there has been this break-in, and to expect that the General will do whatever is necessary.
The hearing continues. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Western Cape High Court.
South Africa is amongst countries with the highest rates of organised crime in the world. This is according to expert evidence presented before the Madlanga Commission this afternoon. Director of the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organised Crime, Mark Shaw, is on the stand. Shaw is set to further unpack recommendations to combat criminal syndicates. His testimony comes as the Commission continues to probe alleged cartel activities as well as role players who allegedly infiltrated the criminal justice system.
There's much to say about Colombia as it compares to us. Mexico, Paraguay, Ecuador, so 4 Latin American countries, the Democratic Republic of Congo, then ourselves, then Nigeria, Lebanon, Turkey, Kenya, etc. What this effectively means is that South Africa is in the top 5% of all countries in the world in respect of criminal markets and actors as measured by the index.
The IEC is adamant it will not allow any political party to submit candidate lists for the upcoming local government elections past its deadline. This after the ANC suffered a setback by failing to submit lists in some Eastern Cape municipalities, blaming the IEC for technical glitches on its system. This could mean the party will not be able to fill any PR seats in the affected councils. Parties and independent candidates had until last week Friday to submit their candidate lists and nominations for the polls. Speaking at a media briefing today, IEC CEO Sai Mamabolo addressed this matter.
The Commission has never entertained any possibility to open the system for any one party, and the Commission does not have an intention, even at this point, to open the system. We had a National Party Liaison Committee meeting yesterday afternoon, and we shared that sentiment with all parties that were represented.
A co-accused in the Nafees Modak trial says she was acting on instruction of her ex-boyfriend, accused number 10, Yannick Adonis, when she assisted in planning 3 failed attacks on slain top cop Charles Kinnear. Adonis has been cross-examined by accused number 9, Amal Janjis's lawyer. He faces charges of conspiracy to commit murder related to his alleged involvement in the botched attacks on Kinnear's life in 2019. Carlo Peterson has more.
Advocate Pauline Andrews presented the court with cell phone evidence extracted from the phones of Yannick Adonis and her client Amal Janjis in November 2019. At the time, Janjis and Adonis were a couple and allegedly planned attacks on Charles Kinnear on behalf of Nafees Modak. Andrews used evidence of phone calls between the accused to show Janjis was acting on Adonis's instruction. Evidence against Janjis shows she made contact with at least 3 gunmen for the failed attacks on Kinnear. The trial continues. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News, Western Cape High Court.
And a 33-year-old Botswana national who was jailed in Bangladesh for drug trafficking is expected to arrive back at her home country today. Lisedi Molapisi was found to be carrying heroin when she arrived in the country on a flight from South Africa in 2022. She was sentenced to death in 2024, but diplomatic efforts by Botswana's authorities and an appeal by President Duma Boko led the way for her release. Amnesty International says more than 2,000 people are known to be on death row in Bangladesh by the end of last year, with 185 new death sentences recorded that year. Gold is trading at $4,371.83 an ounce. The rand is at 16.05 to the dollar, 21.67 to the pound, 18.61 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $94.78 a barrel.
Bryanston heading towards four-ways, slow-moving traffic, N1 southbound from Rivonia Road to Winnie Mandela Drive, while if you're travelling through Edenvale heading towards Bedford View, slow-moving traffic, N3 southbound from Modderfontein Road all the way to Van Buren.
In your sport, Orlando Pirates hammer Kruger United to move 3 points clear at the top of the Betway Premiership standings. The One-Day Pretorius' T20 career best figures secures Proteas win over Zimbabwe. And Springbok hooker Johan Grobler signs a contract extension with the Bulls.
A fine Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 9 degrees, peaking at 26. Pretoria 11 and 27, and Vereeniging 11 and 26 degrees. The top story in EWN. The Western Cape High Court has heard that it would have been absurd to expect President Cyril Ramaphosa to report the burglary at his Palapala farm to the police in person.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 8 minutes past 4 on this Wednesday, middle of the week. How are you going? I'm having a pretty good week, I have to say. I hope you are at least having a decent one with a good weekend lined up. I must say, I'm not glad to hear there's going to be rain over the week. Rain seems to be following the rugby. I don't know what's going on. You would expect it in the Western Cape at the tail end of August, but heavy rain in Joburg in September, is it unusual? Am I feeling a little bit picked on? I was hoping we'd have a nice dry field and a game where ball handling was not in any way going to be interrupted with rain. But anyway, the players seem to cope very, very well. Didn't see as many drop balls actually by the Springboks in Cape Town as we saw when they played up on the dry Highveld week before. Anyway, coming up on the show, we'll get sports updates with Tolakele Mganga. Rugby normally goes a little quiet this week. We've had the team news, and it's usually Thursday, Friday that we start getting a lot more buzz around the match. By the way, speaking of the Test series, and those of you who've been watching it, the Springboks on TV over many, many years now will have absolutely loved hearing Matthew Pearce and his fabulous commentary on SuperSport, not just the content of what he brings by way of background, but his observations on the game and his capturing of the way the game is played. He is my guest on Friday in our weekly feature, Song, a Book and a Dish. I'm hugely looking forward to that. I hope you'll join me on Friday at 20 to 6. Much more immediately, we'll talk to Minister of Basic Education, Sibiwe Gwachube. Couple of things that we wanted to engage with her on. One of them is an announcement that was made today. Remember, there was a big controversy around the allocation of tenders for foundation phase national learning materials. That's for grades 1 to 3. It prompted an independent investigation by National Treasury. That was 3 months ago. Now they have come up with at least headlines on what that investigation has found. We'll talk to the minister about that, but also engage with her on a number she put on the huge need for classrooms and sanitation upgrades in our schools. The number is 120 billion rand, and government is appealing to the private sector to step in and help. We'll talk to her about that as well. That interview coming up fairly shortly on the show. 10 to 5, we've got an interesting comment. Professor Johan Kirsten is Professor of Agricultural Economics at Stellenbosch University, and he's written an open letter to Woolworths, who are running a campaign around some of the goods they sell called Made in Italy. And he's saying, well, what about a Made in South Africa campaign? That Karoo lamb should be promoted much more aggressively and with a higher level of pride. Rooibos tea should be part of the promo. And I think it's not just a conversation he's having with a particular supermarket, but perhaps generally saying a lot more could be done to promote South African goods. Anyway, I'm surmising we'll hear from Prof. Kirsten at 10 to 5. He's also, by the way, Director of the Bureau for Economic Research. After 5, we'll catch up with that Palapala review application court case, and then the IEC joining us to talk about their announcement of how many candidates. That's a lot of people, man, who want to be municipal councillors. 140,000 of them, more than 140,000. And there were some who were supposed to be on the lists, and their parties messed it up. So there's a lot to talk about with the IEC. That's after 5. It's 11 minutes past 4. School trophies and things that reflected your brilliance and marvelousness as a young man or woman. How many of those did you keep? Certificates, trophies, medals. What have you still got? I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. It's all here. It's good for the minister to say what he's saying, but for the last 31 years, these people came in through all ports as they pleased. Now they're waiting for March and March to trigger some action. No, this government is, I don't buy his story. He can talk until the cows come home. It's just blowing hot air. I don't actually agree with anything that he says because I know they are lying. And because the elections are around the corner, they want to keep their hopes alive. South Africans are no longer as dumb as these people think we are. Thank you.
Hi, John. You know, it's really frustrating having a so-called deputy minister coming here and playing on emotions and patriotism and all that nonsense. I'm really sorry. And not answering questions that are asked to him. Why do you make promises when you know that you are not ready? But he's not answering the question. Instead, he's just deflecting and trying to play on people's emotions. It's really frustrating.
People responding there to the interview we had with Deputy Minister of Labour, Jomo Sibia. If you missed that, you can pick it up on the primemediaplus.com website. I must just say, I mean, you refer to a so-called Deputy Minister. He is the Deputy Minister. I know, I get you making a point of general dissatisfaction with the quality of argument you heard, but people do hold these positions, and that should be acknowledged. 14 minutes past 4.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Problems in Bryanston. Let's get the details.
Yeah, that's heading towards a four-way slow-moving traffic in the Bryanston area on the N1 southbound between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. I must say that just looks like the usual peak hour traffic at this stage. While in Midrand, heading towards Sandton, there's a traffic pressure on the N1 southbound from Samrand to New Road due to an earlier accident. Leaving the Sandton area, heading towards the M1, traffic a bit sluggish. This is on Catherine Street between Rivonia Road and Grayston. Also expect some delays on Grayston Drive between Benmore Road and Linden. In Edenvale, traveling towards Germiston, there's slow-moving traffic. This is in the Edenvale area, heading towards Germiston, slow-moving traffic. N3 South from Modderfontein Road to Van Buren in Protea Glen, Soweto. Traffic heavily backed up on the R559 main road opposite GOG Gardens. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance Pointsmen can't help you decide what's for dinner tonight, but they can get the traffic flowing so you get home in time before takeaways become your only option. The Outsurance Pointsmen are real heroes in green and purple, easing traffic congestion and making our lives easier for the past 21 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online using #PointsmenLove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Smart business decisions save money. Switch to Outsurance Business Insurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Here's JC from Blonde Hair Studio.
I was with my previous insurer for many years before switching over to Outsurance Business Insurance. I'm really happy with the premium I'm paying now, and switching was definitely one of the best decisions for my business.
Get a quote to switch and save today. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 0800 60,000. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Land your dream destination with Hollywood Bet Spinner Zonke. Island sunsets, epic adventures, the getaway of a lifetime. Your next trip could be a spin away. Bet R2 or more on selected booming game slots for your chance to win one of 3 incredible bucket list escapes for you and 4 friends, or a share of 1 million rand in cash. Imagine the stories. Live the dream with Hollywood Bets. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble.
Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
When it comes to corporate travel, South African Airways knows what you need. SAA services are designed specifically for the business traveler. Experience competitive rates, flexible travel options with waived change fees, and fully refundable and flexible tickets for a hassle-free journey. SAA dedicated key account management means your travel needs are meticulously handled every step of the way. Plus, earn Voyager miles on every trip and relax in our luxurious business class lounges. South African Airways, where your travel needs are our priority. We don't just fly you, we prioritize your travel needs. Visit flysaa.com or call your nearest travel agent to tailor your corporate travel experience. South African Airways, transforming business travel.
Due to forecasts of torrential rain this weekend, Nyrox has regrettably rescheduled this year's Spring Jazz concert to Sunday, 13 September. This is to ensure the best possible experience for the audience, artists and sponsors. All purchased tickets for the original date remain valid for the new date. For ticket holders unable to attend the new date, refunds are available through the Howler ticketing channel. Kindly email support@howler.co.za. Tickets for the 13th of September can be purchased through Howler, and limited final admission tickets available for the new date from www.nyroxarts.com.
John Perlman
on 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Right, a couple of things coming up in the basic education space. One of them is comments made by the Minister of Basic Education saying that we have a 120 billion rand school infrastructure shortfall, and we're going to talk about that, particularly the appeal to the private sector to get involved and help try and deal what is an immense backlog, and which presumably can only get larger with each passing month and year. But the other issue is, you may recall back in April, there was a controversy around the tenders that were awarded for the production of foundation phase material that goes into the national catalogue of books and other material for grades 1 to 3. Treasury got involved. There was then an independent investigation, the results of which are now out. The Treasury investigation judged to be insufficient and inconclusive on the 26th of May, an independent external investigation. Well, we've got some sense of what that investigation has found. Let's get more details and welcome to 702 Drive, Minister of Basic Education, Sibiwe Gwagube. Thank you very much, Minister, for giving us your time this afternoon. I'm looking at a statement from your spokesperson saying material areas of non-compliance, governance weaknesses, and potential procurement and financial management risks. What does that all refer to? What exactly happened? What kind of details can you share? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to your listeners. Of course, as you told the story very accurately, there was an independent investigation, but that independent investigation was done by auditors that looked at primarily the procurement side of things. And so this is why I've indicated in my statement that we've sought the advice of senior counsel, but there is enough in the current report, which has not been made public, that speaks to governance weaknesses and some in compliance. And therefore, it is for that reason that I've made the decision that the catalogue for foundation phase should be ordered by provinces without delay, so that we can make sure that we do not have children who are without textbooks come to January 2027. Because, of course, we don't know how long the legal process may take as we are undertaking that process.
So if I look at the words used in what is, I think, a somewhat guarded statement, non-compliance says to me that individuals involved in the process knew what they were supposed to do and they didn't do it. Governance weaknesses, on the other hand, might point to a system that is insufficiently tooled up to deal with potential abuses at worst and misfunctions, perhaps, if we were to put it more kindly. If we start with non-compliance, that would suggest that some people charged with a job didn't do it properly. Would that be a fair conclusion?
Look, I think the reason why I'm absolutely cautious, John, about not wanting to delve into this is because, of course, I want it to have a proper legal lens. Because remember, ours is a very litigious sector, and unless I have senior counsel advice on what to do with the recommendations of that report, it would be really irresponsible of me to go into it. But the reason why this decision was made outside of the legal advice right now is so that we can safeguard the delivery of textbooks come January 2027. And so that is why we've had to make this difficult decision, even though we are waiting for the legal advice.
I mean, the investigation took 3 months. Now we move to another phase where you get legal advice as to whether culpability needs to be followed out, or possible culpability, let me be as guarded as you, needs to be followed up with legal action. How long do you expect that to take? I mean, I know you can't always chase lawyers, but if you're paying them, perhaps you can say, listen, we're in a hurry.
Absolutely, and I think one of the brief that we've given to the state attorney, who will in turn obviously brief senior counsel, has been that this matter needs to be wrapped up quickly. Of course, we don't want them to not be thorough. We want them to be absolutely thorough, because how we then proceed from here on will decide how we strengthen our processes going forward, will decide what exactly do we do going forward. And so we've indicated that we don't have time. But at the same time, John, I couldn't take the chance of not allowing provinces to procure from the existing catalogue, so that then we may be in a situation where our foundation phase learners don't have textbooks in the next year. So it would have been great for us to have completed the work, but unfortunately we haven't. And so therefore, that is why we've indicated to senior counsel that it's absolutely urgent, and
Yes,
it has to be done as quickly as humanly possible.
I want to turn to something else then. You were talking earlier in the week, Minister, at one of your engagements in the Eastern Cape, saying that we have a 120 billion rand requirement if we're going to keep pace with the number of children, plus meet the backlog, which is already huge in terms of classrooms and sanitation facilities. And one of the things you said, and you'll correct me if I've if I haven't reflected it accurately, is that you're urging the private sector to get involved. In what way, though? Do you want them to build their own schools, i.e. private schools? Do you want them to come in by way of CSI contributions and add to a pot of money, which is often questioned, certainly at a provincial level, as to whether they spend the money they already have properly? I mean, what do you want the private sector to do in the absence of what appears to be any real measurable improvement in government's ability to spend the money it already has?
Yeah. Look, John, the truth of the matter is this. I think, firstly, I mean, the 120 billion rand that I was referring to is referring to backlogs, additional classrooms that need to be built as things stand, and the kind of pressures that we are facing as a sector. And really, my plea to the private sector is not about building schools but government must lead the charge in terms of providing the basic services that are enshrined in our constitution. But there are some creative ways and means in which we've been able to partner with some private sector partners like VW. There are some blended financing models where National Treasury is coming on board and saying we are open to entertaining some of those blended financing models. But there's also been some really responsible corporate citizens who say, look, we understand that we are a mining company operating in the small town. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we don't leave this town as a ghost town by the time we leave here. So the point I'm trying to make is that government needs to be a better partner in making sure that, one, we're accountable when people give us their money, but at the same time, we are saying to business, partner with us, and we'll show you that we can be able to really work through the backlog. But at the same time, John, I just wanted to add this. I think, the truth of the matter is we're not going to be able to meet the demand if the economy doesn't grow.
Yes.
The economy in South Africa has to grow in order for us to be able to meet the demand that we need in public services such as education.
Minister, I mean, I've got in front of me a piece that ran in Business Business Tech on the 27th of August, and it's by no means an outlier. We see this kind of thing often, and I'll read the first sentence. A new state-of-the-art primary school designed to serve over 1,100 students in Hammanskraal is still standing empty, despite opening at the end of 2025. Malcolm Libera, the writer, refers to the Ratanang Primary School. And I wonder if in your conversation with potential partners from the private sector, they may say, well, we're happy to put in, but we need to know that at a provincial level, and you obviously supervise provincial departments in your role as minister, at a provincial level, this kind of thing just isn't going to happen, because I think it's fair to say it shouldn't happen once, never mind multiple times.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. That is why now the Council of Education Ministers have completely changed in how we do these meetings with our MECs to say, how do we hold ourselves to accountable? Let's go through each and every one of our grants, of our conditional grants. You should be here with your spending. You should be at this level at this time of the financial year. Let's go into your, not only infrastructure grant, let's go into your other conditional grants, your school nutrition. You should be spending this. And so I've decided, John, that, while of course MECs are not appointed by you, but we have to be a lot more stricter with ourselves as government before we can even step out and say to people, assist us. We have to say we've utilized every single resource that we've had, and we are accountable for people's money when they do invest in our system. And so I'll definitely be following up on that school in Hammanskraal to find out exactly what the details are. Sometimes the issue becomes where school becomes unviable when they don't have enough learners in the school.
Yeah,
but I'm really interested.
I don't think it's the case here.
Yeah. Look, I'm interested because, of course, Gauteng is one of those provinces that experience significant pressure in terms of admissions. So I will definitely be taking that matter up.
Siviwe Gwagube, Minister of Basic Education. Maybe you're involved because a lot of corporates are in the CSI space. There are whole foundations set up to invest public money and take on schools and try and make sure that they have better equipment, but also better teaching and better opportunities, better management systems. There's a whole raft of programs. Maybe you're involved with one of them. Weigh in on this and tell us. I mean, if the private sector is to help with this massive backlog, and that's just the material conditions that need fixing. We're not even talking curriculum or anything else here. 120 billion rand. If you're going to weigh in and you're going to help, I mean, what do you want to see by way of guarantees from government that they'll meet their side of the bargain? I'd love to get your view. 072-702-1702, 29 minutes past 4.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, good afternoon to you. I saw markets not so great. Rand pretty good though.
Yeah, Rand is doing quite nicely actually. Just a couple of cents above 16 Rand to the dollar at the moment, John. Oil is creeping up, partly the reason. The JSE All Share down 0.27, 115,540 points. Financials up a quarter. Industrials down 1.28 and resources up 0.38%. News out of the Foschini Group this afternoon. They're going to close around 280 stores here and across the continent over the next 3 years. 80 will close before March next year, another 100 in the 2 years after that. They've closed 85 stores already. Group sales were up just 0.2% in the 6 months to the third week in August. Just 2%, hey, John? I mean, that's tiny. Their online platform, though, has grown by 54%. As a result, they're up 2.77%, so clearly investors quite liking that. Aspen is down 4.6% on the day. That's after they did say that their earnings were higher. They've been hit by one or two difficult problems, but they're also very keen to take advantage of the GLP, the weight loss drug market. Monjaro is the one, and there are a couple of others that they're looking at as well. So they're quite bullish around that. Woolworths announcing headline earnings per share up 5.3% in the year to the end of June. Their turnovers up 4.3%. If you want to know how much more you're paying for kale chips than you were last year, their price movement was 4.7%. Checkers yesterday told us their in-store inflation was 0.8%. But the big news out of Woolies They'll reorientate themselves around their food division. And Motors selling 12% more cars in South Africa in their year to the end of June. But that pushed their revenue up by only 3% from new car sales. Pre-owned market is under pressure. Their headline earnings were up by 15%. Sibanye is up very strongly after their results yesterday. They're up 7%. Tungela is up 3.48%. I'm sure higher oil are responsible for that. DRD Gold's up 2%. Sasol's up 1.23 as well. And then Pick n Pay is down 3.18. Motors actually down nearly 3% on today's news. In the US, you got two things going on. One, the sort of intense, almost direct fighting between the US and Iran. And then AI optimism. When did we last have this tango? The Dow Jones is up 0.63. The Nasdaq is flat. The S&P 500 is up nearly 0.25%. The gold price, $4,392.55 an ounce. Platinum, $1,779.90. Brent crude, $94.04 a barrel. But the rand's stronger, like a rubble. The rand to the dollar, 16.04 to the euro, 18.60 to the British pound, 21.66. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Of course, how do we know AI optimism is real and not generated in some fake way? We'll find out more from the markets with Stephen Curtis after 5, the Money Show between 6 and 8. Let's get the very latest eyewitness news headlines now with Mbali Dlamini, starting down, I believe, in the Western Cape. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. The Cape Peninsula University of Technology says allegations of financial mismanagement have already been investigated and found to be without merit. The response follows a march by students to the SIU offices yesterday. Around 100 students handed over a memorandum calling for an SIU probe into allegations involving the university's vice-chancellor and the handling of funds. The SRC also submitted 2 additional documents detailing its claims against the institution, but CPUT spokesperson Lauren Kansley says the university has consistently followed proper audit processes.
Whistleblower reports and accusations that funds are misappropriated are very often lodged by predatory individuals who are positioning themselves to benefit and influence accommodation and institutional resources in their favor. External attorneys have audited various accusations in these reports and found no merit to the accusations.
The Department of Correctional Services has lost its lengthy legal battle to avoid paying its KZN Commissioner Mnigelwa Ngcele R1 million in compensation. In August of 2022, the General Public Service Sector Bargaining Council ordered the department to compensate Ngcele following his unlawful suspension 3 years prior. Since then, the department has been fighting to overturn the arbitration award. Thabiso Goba has more.
In 2018, as an employee of KwaZulu-Natal's Correctional Services Department, Nikelwe Ngcele made a protected disclosure against the then national head, Arthur Fraser. In the disclosure, Ngcele alleged corruption by Fraser and other senior officials in the department. Following that, Ngcele was suspended from his job, with the department instituting a disciplinary process against him. In February 2022, Ngcele's suspension was ruled to be unlawful, with the bargaining council ordering that he must be allowed to resume his duties. However, when Ngcele returned to work, he was stopped by armed officers and subsequently served with a fresh suspension notice. Ngcele returned to the bargaining council and won the matter, with the Correctional Services Department being ordered to pay him the equivalent of 9 monthly salaries as compensation for his treatment. Ngcele is currently suspended from his job on a separate matter and is due back in court on the 16th of September, where he stands as an accused in a 20 million rand corruption case. Thabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
And in the DRC, the death toll linked to the ongoing Ebola outbreak has now risen to over 3,000 people. This is according to the latest official figures from authorities in Kinshasa. The epidemic, which has infected more than 6,000 people, is the deadliest ever recorded in the DRC. It was declared in mid-May in the conflict-hit east as well as northeast of that country. A fine Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 9 and 11 degrees and highs of between 26 and 27.
Bryanston, slow-moving traffic heading towards four ways. That's on the N1 southbound from Rivonia Road to Winnie Mandela Drive. In Edenville, heading towards Bedford View, actually approaching the Kilulis interchange. You can actually expect about a 30-minute delay on the R24 westbound all the way from Macro Store. Also coming from Alex, heading towards Germiston, expect about an hour delay. N3 south from Marlborough Drive to Van Buren.
The top story in EWN, the CPUT says allegations of financial mismanagement have already been investigated and found to be without merit at the institution.
Local government elections aren't just about municipalities and councillors. They're about people like you and the park where your children play, the streetlights that guide you to the bus stop, the neighborhood where you want to feel safe. The truth is, what happens in the council chamber doesn't stay there. It finds its way into the lives of ordinary people, like you. So in the run-up to the local government elections, 702, Cape Talk and EWN will be where your concerns become the conversation, your community becomes the story, and your voice matters, because this is more than local. It's personal. Follow every moment of the local government election on 702, Cape Talk and EWN.co.za. Download the EWN app.
Mandy Wiener's podcast, The Hope Dealers, tells the stories of the people changing the narrative in Joburg. Mandy spent weeks witnessing the passion and the collective action of the Hope Dealers, who are individuals and organizations working to restore and rejuvenate Jozi. Catch a new episode of the podcast on the Midday Report every Wednesday after the news headlines, or watch the full The Hope Dealers video on Prime Media Plus. This week, Mandy spends time with Sifiso Gumbi and the Urban Surfer team, bringing dignity and redemption to rubbish reclaimers who collect what we call rubbish. The Home Dealers on Prime Media Plus.
Running a small business means every rand counts. Thanks to My Way Business Insurance, I save up to 20% on my insurance premiums every month for my buckies and tools of trade. Now, I get to save some extra cash for my business and focus on giving my clients world-class service.
Switch to My Way Business Insurance and save up to 20% on your buckies and tools of trade. Real businesses, real savings. Call us on 0860 646464 for a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. Standard rates and T's and C's apply.
You packed it, you loaded it, you drove it there, you paid a courier, and still did part of the courier's job. Life should be easier. With Courier it is. Fast and convenient delivery options, friendly service, great pricing, all with a team that is energetic, experienced in delivery, and serious about service. Local or international, Courier It makes sending easy for businesses on the move. Easy to send, easy to track, easy on your wallet. Send it today at courierit.co.za and get your 50 Rand credit. Don't stress it, just Courier It.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, Dr. John, I-702. Nice topic about old school achievements and awards. I think the one that I bumped into most recently was when they still had 100% attendance certificates. I don't think they even do that anymore. And I don't think there's anybody who can actually do 100% attendance these days. But one of the ones that I still keep in my wardrobe is the blazer that has the full colors for music. Because in my time, when we went to school, they didn't want to introduce soccer in sport, and we were forced to do rugby and cricket, and we never even understood how to play the sport. So we took on a boys' choir, and we did an ethnic choir as well. Yeah, ended up being the captain of the ethnic choir as well.
Dr. John, it's Tabiso here. What Pirates is doing now, isn't that some sort of a record? Maybe not a world record, but some sort of a record, especially in sports. I mean, to win, not consecutively, obviously, but to win 1-0, and then the next game 2-0, and then the next game 3-0, and then the next game 4. I mean, if we, by God, if we do 5-0 to the other guys that are next, surely that's something. I'm just asking for a friend.
I wonder which friend. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing. So I don't know who Pirates play next. We'll check that out and see if they're likely to put 5 past them and keep it watertight at the back. Just something I want to share with you, because there's been a lot of debate and discussion about the Airlink fly past, or fly over, I think is more appropriate, of the DHL Cape Town Stadium. This ahead of the second test between the Springboks and the All Blacks. The South African Civil Aviation Authority is conducting now an inquiry and investigation. They're referring to an analysis process. They've requested additional information from the operator, and they're checking out all sorts of things and saying a full report with recommendations will be shared with the operator once the assessment has been completed by the South African Civil Aviation Authority. But the most important thing in their statement, I think, for now, is this. Further to this, the regulator was notified by the operator on Wednesday, 1 September 2026, i.e. today, that it is withdrawing its application for approval for a third fly past that was planned for this coming weekend. So the planes are not going to be flying over the FNB Stadium ahead of the third test between the Springboks and the All Blacks. So I think that's important breaking news. You may have a view on it. You may want to comment on 072 702 1702. Let's get our feet back on the ground and cover some sport.
EWN Sport.
Tolekele, Pirates setting the pace. Sundowns have a chance to respond.
Absolutely, John, and they'll look to keep their winning week going when they take on Milford in the Betway Premiership this evening. They can draw level with Pirates at the top with victory, and Malibongwe Khoza has discussed how reaching the MTN8 final has lifted team morale.
It feels amazing because it's been something that we always wanted to do, because a lot of people are complaining that we are not putting more focus on local competitions, so we made sure that we reach the final and try to win it.
Fernando de Cruz has backed Brandon Peterson to get back on track after a shaky start to the season for Kaizer Chiefs. Peterson committed errors against Richards Bay, Mamelodi Sundowns and Lamontville Golden Arrows, which have led to the team dropping vital points.
Brandon make mistakes also last season, but he make also a very good season. Last season he got a lot of points to his team. He says he trusts in him at 100%. It's our captain, so he trusts in him. He discussed with him this weekend, but our model game will not change. We continue in our model game.
Anton Leonard Brown says he can't wait to face the Springboks in Joburg again, as he believes the All Blacks' high-tempo game will give them the edge. Rugby's greatest rivalry is locked at 1-1 heading into that third test, and Ned Brown is confident in their ability to bounce back.
Us as a team will spend a lot of time up high val, so we know what it brings, and in a way we think it's an advantage to us. We try to play at tempo in a fast game, so we're an incredibly fit team, so we're looking forward to going back up there.
With the double world champions still on a high following their success in Cape Town, Lagruan Nogia has shared what the mood's been like this week compared to the first.
The vibe has been really good. I wouldn't say very different than last week. Obviously, every week is test week. We know they got the better of us in that first test. And for us, it's all about sticking to our processes, working hard during the week. And I think this week is exactly the same. When we work as hard as possible.
And Ferrari have confirmed that Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc will have engine upgrades at this weekend's Italian Grand Prix. It'll be their fourth engine of the season, the last before they incur any grid penalties. At the same time, Isaac Hachgar will miss the weekend's race due to his ongoing wrist injury, with Liam Lawson replacing him for a second consecutive event. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at 4:45, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Chali is your man. What's up?
Well, John, at this stage, if you are traveling from Bryanston, Sunning Hill, heading towards Four Ways, earlier on I said it's just peak hour traffic, but I see traffic is already building up. There's more than a 30-minute delay now, and it looks like there's something going on here. We received a voice note.
Hi, Karabo Charlie. The congestion on N1 South is actually a car stuck in the middle of the road between Rivonia and Winnie Mandela. That's what's causing the congestion.
Yeah, as a result of that, those other routes are heading on into the N1, that's Rivonia Road. Heavy delays there, as well as Witkoppen Road through Sunning Hill and Polshof. Expect about a 30-minute delay between Maxwell and Main Road, while in Midrand, traveling towards Sandton, slow-moving traffic. N1 southbound from Samrand to New Road. There's also bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is in the Edenville area, heading towards Bedford View, R24 westbound from Macro Store to the Kilulis interchange, leaving Alex heading towards Germiston. Expect about an hour delay. This is on the N3 southbound from Marlborough Drive to Van Buren. If you know what's causing this unusual delay this afternoon, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Things people stress about in traffic. Number 49. What's that random warning light that keeps popping up on my car's dashboard? Oh, the mystery. Well, with the Outsurance Pointsman on your route, at least the traffic is one less thing to stress about. The Outsurance Pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
702 Drive, 13 minutes to 5. We were chatting a little bit earlier about family members or perhaps, people who are close to you in some way who buy clothes for you, and you try to give indications that, you know what, actually, thanks very much, but you make it kind of clear that that's not your style, that's not your fabric, that's not your look, whatever it might be. But they continue buying the stuff for you so that birthdays and celebrations like Christmas or whatever it is, where gifts are exchanged, become moments where you feel like a little bit of dread, like, oh my goodness, what is auntie this or uncle that or my dearest friend going to give me now? And I'm just wondering, is there a way? What do you do? I mean, have you ever tried to sort of put a stop to this? Because what invariably follows after that is the thing, those shoes I bought you never seem to wear them. Or do you just wear them? Tolakele, first of all, do you have this problem? Secondly, do you have a strategy for dealing with this problem?
I don't have this problem, but my brother does. He's very finicky in what he likes, from shoes to any sort of top that you buy him. Because there have been times that when we were younger, my parents would buy him something and he'd be like, thank you, then he'll never wear it. Never wear it. So what he's done now that he's older, a month before his birthday, he will send you screenshots of exactly what he wants.
Okay.
And he can never
Orders
go
in
wrong.
advance.
Yep. So you can either buy him whatever he's asked for, or on the day that you're available, you guys can go shopping together and then he can pick what he wants.
My particular experience was a family member who was going to Namibia and said, listen, I'm going there. And there's a famous shop that makes veldschoens. And he said, they make brown ones or grey ones. Which do you want? I said, to be honest, it's not my thing. I don't like those shoes. My apologies to anyone who might be offended. Rather don't get them, because I think they were quite pricey, actually. It was a bit of a shop with a real rep. And they said, no, I know you don't like them, but you'll like these ones. Eventually, the shoes came back. I was presented with the shoes, and then the questions followed. I never see you wear the shoes. And I said, eventually, I think I told you, I didn't really want these shoes. Karabo Charlie, what should we not buy you for Christmas?
Well, my parents learned early on. They used to buy us Christmas clothes.
Yes.
And they would make it a surprise. Like, look what we got you. And they used to buy me, there was these sandals from Woolworths. I think they were elephant sandals. And they were so uncomfortable, and they were not my style. I won't say they were ugly.
Yes.
And then obviously I wouldn't wear them. And then I suggested to my parents, with the money that you buy my Christmas clothes, give it to me. Then I will buy myself Christmas clothes. And then from then on, I think I was like 11 or 12. When it was time for Christmas clothes, they'll give me my money, and then me and my mother will go and I'll pick whatever I want. So now I just tell people, just get me a voucher.
Yes.
Yeah. That works.
Yeah.
Then it won't be an awkward situation if I don't like your present.
And people who are bad at wrapping gifts, and the sellotape tears a bit of you're a good friend to have in that regard. Okay, your stories, please. People who buy you clothes and tell you that, why don't you wear them when you've made kind of clear, but maybe not clear enough, that it's not your look. It's not your thing. But they buy it for you anyway. Give us a call on that. I bet you got some funny stories, but crucially, I bet you got some good tips on how we actually deal with this if indeed we get put into that corner. 9 minutes to 5.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Well, a very interesting piece caught my eye on the News 24 site. It was written by one of our most eminent agricultural economists. He is professor in that area of study and research at Stellenbosch University. He's also director of the Bureau for Economic Research. Professor Johan Kirsten has published something on the News 24 site saying, "Dear Woolies, how about a sponsored series on Karoo lamb and rooibos?" Well, I looked at this as a huge fan of Karoo lamb and as somebody who cannot drink even a small cup of rooibos, but that's beside the point. And the point that Prof. Kirsten was making is that Woolworths is part or backing a 6-part Mnet documentary series titled Made in Italy. But the question he's asking is, why don't you do something about South African specific food? Prof, welcome and thanks for giving us your time. Clearly something got under your skin here, although the tone of your article is extremely measured. People can go and read it for themselves. But what was the point you were trying to make?
Yeah, I think it's a long-standing point that I'm trying to make with our good friends in the retail business, Woolworths, Checkers, and Pick n Pay, is that South Africa has gone a long journey to get to the same of recognizing provenance food, food from origin, and it just tickled my mind when I saw the documentary that Woolworths spend millions on trying to promote those origin-based foods from Italy, but somehow they've ignored our own progress in this field of recognizing Karoo lamb as protected geographical indication, recognizing rooibos as one truly South African. And although we find true South African cuisine and culinary items in the various stores, I think the way that we don't promote our own in the same way as we promote Italy sort of probably got under my skin.
Let's talk about this geographical indication, because it's a very important thing. We got on, as I recall, I think somewhere in the mid-90s, on the wrong end of that with the Portuguese insisting that you couldn't call something port because that's from the Oporto region of that country. And then perhaps, more problematically for our wine industry around champagne. And we've been pushing back now that nobody can just say this is Karoo lamb if it's not. And nobody can say this is rooibos unless it comes from South Africa. I mean, I would have thought there's real economic advantage if the more aggressively you defend your geographical indication. I would have thought the better for your economy and certainly your agricultural economy. I don't know. Yes, we got Prof back. Sorry, we lost you for a second. Please begin your response again, if you don't mind.
Yes. Yeah, so we had that big fight in the 90s, where we had champagne and Porto and port and sherry that we had to give up. And we had some agreement with the European Union, and later we also managed to get our own systems in place, and also to protect the European Union geographical indications in South Africa. So all of those famous cheeses that you see in the stores now are protected through South African regulations and European regulations. So it is an important way to provide value to farmers that are producing according to tradition, according to a specific origin, and according to specific rules. And it just makes sense to sort of promote that product from that perspective.
One of the things, let's stick with the Karoo lamb issue, because you've engaged with Woolworths, I don't know if you personally or as part of a larger effort, asking them to designate lamb that is from the Karoo, in which I think there's wide consensus, has a uniqueness and a very special and many people would say, most people would say, a delicious taste based on what the sheep in that area eat. And that you've pushed Woolworths to say, hey, listen, please reflect that in your labeling. And what answers have you got in response? Because you're saying it's something they haven't done.
Yeah, no, it's been a silence. We've been in negotiations over the years, trying to get them on board in terms of the whole provenance business, and they supported the issue in terms of designing the rules, etc. initially, but they never took it up as a major part of their retail strategy. Probably worrying about the consistency of supply because the Karoo is prone to drought.
Yes.
But I think despite that, you can always do a product that is in season when it's in season. We don't
Yes.
get all the fruits and the vegetables in season in a particular store, so you can have the same sort of festival when the Karoo lamb is back into season. So you can have that fluctuations, but I think the dominance of the brand of the retailer is perhaps overwhelming, and therefore they want to protect that. But you can do it very simple. Have the label of the retailer together with a indication of origin, which doesn't take away from the retail brand itself. So I think that is sort of the argument that they put through. I've just met with silence
Yes.
over the years. So I'm probably this one crazy guy in the Karoo that wants to promote it.
No, but in all seriousness, I mean, I think is there a bigger issue at stake here? I mean, my sense is what you're also saying is that we need to maximize the excellence and authenticity and in many ways the uniqueness of all our products, whether they've had a geographical indication or not. And isn't that the point? And isn't that what we should be arguing?
Yeah, that's absolutely the point, because the whole debate about these type of items is authenticity and reputation. The mind of the consumer goes into a different spin when they recognize the product and they move into nostalgia. They understand the region.
Yes.
They understand also the health benefits of Karoo lamb, given its particular way that it grazes. But now the product sort of disappears at the moment into a retail brand without acknowledgement of the hard work of the Karoo farmers. And that's the fundamental worry that I have.
Thank you so much. It's really interesting stuff. Prof. Johan Kirsten is Professor of Agricultural Economics at Stellenbosch University, also Director of the Bureau for Economic Research. I think raising some points of wider application and issue, and not just simply going on the issue with Woolworths and the labelling of Karoo lamb. Give us your thoughts. I mean, do we punt what we do well enough? Your point of contact for us, by the way, 0727021702.
At Checkers, every day gets better and better. Get better freshness, better choices, and better value for money. With deals like Parmalat cheddar or Gouda cheese, 850 grams, any two for 239 Rand. Dr. Utker Ital frozen pizza foldover, 2 per pack, any two for 129 Rand. And Twin Saver 2-ply white toilet rolls, 24 per pack for 149.99. Valid until 6 September, only at Checkers.
Are you an investor who likes easy access to your money, or do you prefer locking it away?
Absolutely, to both.
ABSA has an account for you. Earn up to 7.5% with ABSA Cash Invest Tracker and get immediate access to your money. Or earn up to 7.7% with a 12-month dynamic fixed deposit account. Invest on the ABSA app. Your story matters. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply. Minimum investment required. Rates as of July 2026.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
News in a moment, and then after that, in the final hour of 702 Drive, Lindsay Dentlinger, our EWN colleague, has been watching very closely as the Western Cape High Court listens to issues around Phala, that previous report that was done. President Cyril Ramaphosa in the court to have that reviewed. We'll talk as well to Masego Shiburi about the preparedness of the IEC. More than 140,000 candidates want to be municipal councillors. How on earth are they going to deal with all of that? The ballot papers might be a little complicated. And then in the last part, we'll do some music. What's that song that makes you feel it's spring now? What's your spring has sprung song? Share those with us, please, on 072-702-1702. It's 5 o'clock.
This is EWN.
ATM opposes Ramaphosa's bid to dismiss Phala report, and no aerial spectacle for rugby fans at the FNB Stadium this weekend. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The African Transformation Movement has warned against the dismissal of a report that has led to the impeachment inquiry of President Cyril Ramaphosa. The party told the Western Cape High Court today that if that report is dismissed, it will open the door to tactics to delay him facing accountability. Ramaphosa is facing impeachment over his conduct following the theft of US dollars from his Phala farm in 2020, Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
Advocate Anton Katz, representing the ATM, says the fact that foreign currency was stored in a couch on the president's farm should be sufficient for him to face impeachment. Earlier today, President Ramaphosa's legal counsel, Wim Trengove, argued that he was not directly involved in the running of the farm, nor the business conducted on it, but that his ownership has always been officially declared. But Katz says Ramaphosa's criticism of the report is without merit.
This court could find that there is a difficulty with the panel report, but nevertheless say on the facts, what were the dollars doing in the account? It's just an equitable that there be an impeachment.
Katz has argued it would be inappropriate for the court to intervene in a parliamentary process that is still underway, and Ramaphosa's review is premature.
Were this court to uphold this review at this point, it would be open sesame for Staringrad.
The ATM will continue its arguments tomorrow. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Western Cape High Court.
A global organised crime expert has told the Madlanga Commission that the Division of State Intelligence Agencies may enable state capture. Mark Shaw, the director of the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organised Crime, has been on the stand this afternoon. He presented data revealing that South Africa is amongst the top 5% of countries in the world with high organised crime rates. Shaw is also set to present recommendations for the Commission to combat criminal syndicates. He's been referring to how other countries have tackled so-called mafias.
Is in the context of Italy. Before 1991, prosecutors investigating the mafia in different places were not linked up. Essentially, what the Italian state established was an ability to maintain the independence of prosecutors investigating the mafia while creating centralized systems of information to avoid fragmentation.
Shaw also noted that South Africa requires additional legislature to deal with unexplained wealth of public officials.
There's no law that provides for the civil forfeiture or confiscation of property owned or controlled by a public official where its value is disproportionate to the lawful income disclosed by that official under a kind of mandatory vetting or integrity program, what we discussed earlier. And there's also no statutory provision that establishes a substantive criminal offence for unexplained wealth more generally.
The judge in the case of alleged crime boss Vus'Umuzi Matlala and 4 others has questioned a witness about an alleged hospital escape plan by accused one in the matter. At the time, Musa Kekana was receiving medical treatment following his arrest in 2024. The witness told the Johannesburg High Court today that the staff were concerned that Kekana had called someone to break him out of hospital. The details emerged during a trial within a trial where Kekana is challenging the legality of his arrest and the admissibility of evidence obtained afterwards. Kekana, Matlala and 3 others face a combined 25 charges linked to 3 shooting incidents between 2022 and 2024. Dimakatso Leshoro has more.
The issue was first raised by counsel for Vus'Umuzi Matlala, Advocate Annelian van den Heever, who put it to the doctor that the hospital note made by night staff at the Edenvale Hospital raising concerns was referring to police trying to forcibly remove Kekana from the hospital to the Bramley police station, but Dr. Siphelele Mazibuko gave a different interpretation.
How I understand it is the nurses were concerned that the accused would ask people to remove him forcibly from the hospital.
The judge then sought further clarity, prompting Kekana's lawyer, Advocate Rian Geseng, to object.
I'm not so certain whether this constitutes your lordship entering
the arena.
The court summarily dismissed the objection, saying it was entitled to clarify documents introduced by the defense itself before assessing the evidence. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News, Johannesburg.
We take you now to some news, Justin. The South African Civil Aviation Authority has confirmed that Airlink has withdrawn an application for a fly past over FNB Stadium this weekend. The regulator is currently investigating a fly past over Cape Town's DHL Stadium last week, which attracted widespread media attention. The authority insists a simulator practice flight and safety briefing was approved in line with requirements for special air events. It says a full report will be released once a decision has been reached. And British car maker Jaguar and Land Rover has launched its new fully electric Range Rover. The company says it gave extra training to more than 10,000 staff members working on that project. It also says the vehicle, which can reach 96 kilometers in 4.3 seconds, heralds a new era of enhanced refinement and capability. The launch of the vehicle comes a year after a major cyber attack halted production and hit the company's finances. Well, gold is trading at $4,371.83 an ounce. The rand is at 16.05 to the dollar, 21.67 to the pound, 18.61 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $94.78 a barrel.
Alexandra, heading towards Germiston, you can expect about an hour delay N3 south from Marlborough Drive to Van Buren due to an earlier accident. Edenville also coming in towards Bedford View, expect about a 30-minute delay on the R24 westbound from Macro Store to the Kilulis interchange, and in the Sunning Hill Poleshoff area, traffic pressure on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Maxwell.
In your sport, Mamelodi Sundowns looking to keep up with the leaders with victory over Milford in the Betway Premiership tonight. Scott McTominay to undergo heart surgery, and the Springboks look ahead to their Soweto return as rugby's greatest rivalry makes a stop at the FNB Stadium.
A fine Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 9 degrees, peaking at 26. Pretoria 11 and 27, and Vereeniging 11 and 26 degrees. The top story in EWN. The ATM has warned against the dismissal of a report that has led to the impeachment inquiry of President Cyril Ramaphosa.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 9 minutes past 5. Great to have you with us on the show as we cover some of the key stories today and get your views on the way some of those stories have turned out. So no fly over the FNB Stadium as the Springboks and the All Blacks do battle once again. It's been a great rugby series so far, hasn't it? But yeah, the planes will not fly as the two teams square up for test match number 3. Maybe you've got a view on that. I know it's been fairly divided opinion. I would say if you took a poll, the majority of people love the flyovers. There was a little bit of bristling at what they felt was foreign people criticizing what we were doing. Also, I've been on quite a lot of different chats, and there's been some people saying they felt it was a bit low, a bit reckless. But yeah, I think there was a poll, 65% of the people saying, leave things be, we know what we're doing, don't mess with a great South African tradition. Anyway, now a decision has been made by Airlink. They're not going to do it on Saturday. Maybe you've got a view. If you do, please send it to us on 072 702 1702. The other thing we're going to ask you is to share some musical ideas with us. I'll tell you about that in just a moment. In terms of interviews we're going to be doing shortly, a conversation with our EWN colleague Lindsay Dentlinger, watching a very important, extremely important, I think it's fair to say, court matter in the Western Cape High Court. President Cyril Ramaphosa looking to have the previous report on Phala reviewed and set aside, and substantial pushback by people who think that he should answer the questions that the report sets out. But it's been interesting. back and forth, counsel for different sides of the argument. I think all heard today. I'm not sure what's happening tomorrow, but Lindsay will know, and she's with us in just a moment. And then the IEC has 142,072 candidates have been nominated. Now they've got to review those submissions because there are some compliance issues that need to be followed. A lot of work when there's a local government election. It's busy enough when we're doing national and provincial polls. So we'll talk a little bit later to a leading member of the IEC, Masego Shiburi, joining us. Masego Shiburi, Deputy Chief Electoral Officer for Electoral Operations, will be my guest at about 21 minutes past 5. It's 11 minutes past. Let's hear some of your thoughts.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. Good afternoon. So, my mom kept a file that had all our academic certificates or cultural. She still has my certificates from like grade 1. So, we have a lot of those still at home.
Hi, John and team, and to all the listeners. So when I was in primary school, I wasn't the brightest crayon in the box. I barely got any recognition, any certificates or anything. But when it came to grade 7, I was like, I have to leave the school, at least getting some certificate. And the one that was in my reach was coming to school every day. Because back then we got a certificate for not being absent. So I told my father, Pops, this is the one. Like, I'm going to get the certificate. I'm going to come to school every single day this year. And it's the only way that I'll be able to get a certificate. And lo and behold, I was able to obtain it because I had come to school every day that year. So that was one of my only certificates, unfortunately. But hopefully there is still an opportunity for me to get more. Thanks, Mike from the East.
Hi, John. It's Tandega here from Midrand. That is got to be my husband. We've been married for like 12 years. And trust me, he still doesn't get it. I don't wear those things. I give them away. He still keeps buying me clothes that I don't like. He just doesn't get it. And funny thing is, he's I don't know whether to say he's a former polygamist or a polygamist because my sister wife left. Like I think he left because of those clothes he used to buy.
So, boy, there's a lot in that message. So for those of you who've just joined the show, I mean, 2 questions. I asked people if they've kept their awards from school, and then I asked, what do you do if people close to you buy you clothing that you actually don't like, that you're not going to wear? Do you tell them? Do you try and direct them as to what kind of things you might wear and what you don't? And how do you deal with the question? Oh, that thing, that's mauve and mustard catsuit that I bought you, you never seem to wear it. You say, well, you want to say, well, have you given some thought as to what the reason for that might be? Or do you just nod and say, oh, it's at the dry cleaners, I wore it last week when you weren't around? I mean, these things get awkward. So I bet you've got a good story to tell. We've just had one, I think. 702 Drive, 14 past 5.
EWN Traffic.
So I'm going to ask you this again, Karabo. Delays in Alex, is that the part of the highway near Alex, or is it in Alex itself?
The part of the highway through Alex heading towards Germiston. That's
Thank you.
The N3 southbound, to be specific. And through there, if you're coming from Midrand heading towards Germiston, I'm afraid you can expect about an hour delay. John, this is between Marlborough Drive and Van Buren. It looks like there's 2 separate accidents, one near Modderfontein and then one just there by Van Buren. So please allow for extra traveling time or just use the M1 southbound via Sandton as an alternative. In Edenville, also expect about a 30-minute delay. This is heading into Bedford View. R24 westbound from Macro Store to the Giluli's interchange in North Riding. Bumper-to-bumper traffic on. This is approaching the intersection of Slovenia Road and a Boundary Street. There's also about a 20-minute delay in the Bryanston area, N1 South from Rivonia Road to Winnie Mandela Drive due to that earlier stationary vehicle. In Sunninghill, pulls off traffic pressure on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Maxwell Drive. Midrand, traffic pressure N1 South from Samrand to New Road. And in Protea Glen, Soweto, traffic remains heavily backed up on the R559 Main Road opposite GOG Gardens. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
Opposition parties in Parliament's impeachment committee have accused the ANC of delaying tactics after a majority vote rescinded the recommendation of Thandazani Madonsela as evidence leader. The Section 89 inquiry, which will probe events related to the theft of US dollars from the president's Phala Phala farm, was expected to finalize the decision at a meeting yesterday. Ramaphosa has objected to Madonsela's appointment, believing he's conflicted over work done for the ANC and his removal by Ramaphosa from the Judicial Service Commission.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. Let's go down to Cape Town now, to the Western Cape High Court, and that matter involving the previous report that was done in regard to the Parliament's independent investigation into Phala Phala. Lindsay Dentlinger, our EWN parliamentary reporter, has been keeping an eye on what the lawyers are saying and the question that the presiding judges are asking. Very good afternoon, Lindsay. A very interesting day today. It began, as I understand it, with President Cyril Ramaphosa's legal team led by Advocate Wim Trengove. What were the key points he was making? I heard reference to prima facie, if I've pronounced that right after all these years. But that seemed to be quite central to what he was arguing.
Good afternoon, John. Yes, essentially whether the evidence that was put before this independent panel that was appointed by Parliament in 2022, whether all of that really amounts to sufficient evidence to put the president on the path of impeachment. That is essentially the debate that has been advanced by the president's legal team, whether the panel had done enough to look at what was put before them. A lot of that, as you know, was that affidavit from the former head of intelligence, Arthur Fraser, and the president's lawyers really asking whether that was just, some of that was just hearsay, whether the panel had tested the veracity of that evidence. And then also, John, a second leg to their argument is about the conduct of the president, whether he had willfully or intentionally tried to hide what had happened. The advocate representing the president, Wim Trengove, going as far as to say that it was a little absurd to expect a president to walk into a police station and report this burglary at his farm. He did what he thought was the right thing, which was turning to his head of security and reporting to him what had happened and expecting him to take the next logical steps in the matter. But by no means did the president ever give instructions or insinuate or expect his head of security to go rogue, as it were, and go chase after this money and conduct an investigation himself. So really trying to impress on the court that the president had not acted in a manner in which he tried to conceal or shield himself in any way from what had happened on his farm back in 2020.
So, Lindsay, who else have we heard from and who are they speaking for?
Well, largely it's been the president's day, if I can call it that. He has three legal counsel in court. Two of them have made arguments for the majority of the day. And we did very briefly after around the tea time start to hear from one of the four political parties which are opposing this application to set this report aside, and chiefly being the African Transformation Movement, which is the party which initiated this impeachment in Parliament against the president back in 2022, Advocate Anton Katz, telling the court that by sheer virtue of dollars being stashed in a couch on a farm, that in his party's view was adequate enough for the president to face impeachment, because really what the court, a very robust engagement from a full bench led by the judge president herself, questioning the legal representatives about the charges, whether the evidence that is contained in this report really relate to the charges and the complaints that opposition parties have about exchange control violations and the like, and corruption, reporting incidents of possible corruption, whether those are actually the charges that were contained in that motion initially. And so whether that all matches up is what the bench have really been putting to Advocate Anton Katz. But as I say, only very brief arguments from him, and 2 more days to go where these opposition parties will advance their arguments why the president should not be successful in this application.
Thank you so much. They go again tomorrow. So does Lindsay Dentlinger, our EWN parliamentary reporter, and she's been covering not just this particular round of legal argument and legal contestation, but she's also been looking at the earlier rounds of that, as well as what's going on in the parliamentary committees. So you can be sure we'll get everything we need to know from Lindsay over the next 2 days. 7:02 Drive, 22 minutes past 5.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Well, while the courts do what courts do, the Independent Electoral Commission is faced with what certainly appears to me to be a massive task, because 142,072 candidates have been nominated to contest 10,526 council seats across South Africa's municipalities, the local government elections in the first week of November. The fact that people have been nominated doesn't necessarily mean they're going to make it to the starting line. The Independent Electoral Commission now has a review process which needs to get underway. So what are they looking at, and what will they need to do to produce the final list of candidates? Masego Sheburi is Deputy Chief Electoral Officer for Electoral Operations at the IEC. Mr. Sheburi, welcome, and thanks very much for your time. Do you still need to review these 142,000 odd candidates, or is there another process that now follows? And if there is, please describe it for us. Good afternoon to you, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon, Mr. Perlman. Indeed, last week Friday, the period to nominate candidate closed. We are now into the review process, which review process will culminate in the Commission publishing the details of candidates that have been successfully nominated, including the details of those parties, and that will happen on the 16th of September. What we are looking at now is whether the people have complied with the legal requirements to be nominated. In other words, a person is registered in that municipality, they have paid the prescribed deposit, they have signed an acceptance of nomination to be a candidate. If those matters are met, including the fact that the person is not barred from standing to be a candidate in a municipal election in terms of the Constitution, if those legal requirements are met, those candidates will be confirmed as candidates on the 16th of November and issued with certificates later in the month.
So 16 September, we'll know exactly. I mean, do you have any sense? I know you don't want to be seen to be predicting, but based on past local government elections, what on average is the proportion of people who've got to this stage who do fall out, either for any of the reasons that you've outlined? I mean, is it 10%? Is it more or less?
It will be a minuscule amount of people that fall off. In 2011, in a corresponding election, just over 100,000 candidates were nominated. 95,000 of those were confirmed as candidates. We anticipate that there will be a fall, but that fall won't be significant. The number of candidates finally nominated will still be in the early 100,000s.
I'm trying to imagine. I mean, I think the work of producing ballot papers is difficult enough in a national and provincial election where you're not even dealing with individuals. I mean, what's involved? September 16, we know who's coming to the start line. The production of the ballot papers must be an extraordinarily higher level of care and detail required when you're doing local elections.
Indeed, just to put it in perspective, John, there's about 4,468 wards across the country.
Right.
So for each ward will have its unique candidates. And if there is an independent, it makes it even more complex because the photograph of an independent must appear on that ballot as an identifier. So we must first start by having the permutations of 4,468 unique ballots for each ward, and also have PR ballots for each of the local municipalities, including the metro and the 44 district municipalities. That is a mammoth task, but the commission exists to resolve those tasks. The only thing that worries us is that in these circumstances, a ballot paper may diminish in meaning in the hands of a voter, because in a municipality like Johannesburg, there's a minimum of 80 political parties that will be contesting on the PR ballot. It will be a double column ballot, so voters will find it difficult to identify candidates or parties of their choice and to make a selection with confidence. So it will slow down the process. On our part, we'll try to make ballot papers that are usable, that are still meaningful in the hands of the voter, so that they can identify and make a mark for their party, and we will then translate those marks into representations in municipal councils.
Sure. What's the expression, may 1,000 flowers bloom or whatever. But anyway, we've got a lot of political parties, and we've got tens of thousands of candidates, and we have the IEC represented today by Masego Shiburi, Deputy Chief Electoral Officer for Electoral Operations at the IEC, and they really do have a huge task ahead of them. By the way, in the process of this, and we thank Mr. Shiburi for his time, they've generated some very interesting data. Nominated candidates dominated by individuals aged between 36 and 55. That's 58% of the candidates coming forward, and men account for nearly 2/3 of all nominations. Women's representation around 38% overall. Lots of other data I'm sure will come out. We'll pick out some of the nuggets as we get them. 702 Drive, it's 28 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis watching what's going on the markets, and here to tell us what he's going to be doing when he takes over between 6 and 8 for the Money Show. Stephen Curtis, good afternoon.
Afternoon to you, John. Brent crude creeping up, unfortunately. Rand holding steady in quite a nice position. All of that helping the JSE down 0.2%, 115,082 points. Financials now up 0.04. Industrials down 1.5. Resources down about 0.5% or so. So quite a few results out today, which is having a bit of an impact on the markets. Aspen's earnings were up. They've had a rough time, but they were up. But the share price down 7.35% on the day. Motus, they are down nearly 3% on the day after they reported they sold 12% more cars in South Africa in their year to the end of June. But that pushed their revenue up only 3%. Bear in mind they're in the aftermarket, in the pre-owned market as well, and that's under a lot of pressure because of what we're seeing in that space, driven by cheaper brands. We Buy Cars, one of their rivals, they're down 3% on the day, and Pick n Pay is down 3%. Talking of Pick n Pay, Woolworths, they had their results out today. Their headline earnings per share up 5.3%. Their turnover up 4.3%. They are going to move to reorientate themselves around their food division. We'll speak to their new CEO, Sam, on the Money Show this evening. Looking forward to that conversation, John. Sibanye up 8%. Tungela up 4.76%. Sibanye had very strong results yesterday in the platinum space. Tungela up 5%. Obviously, that's because of energy prices. Sasol's up 3.4%. Telkom's up 1.77. And ShopRite, their results out yesterday, they're up 0.73% on the day. I should just point out Cashbuild struggling a little bit. Their earnings down, headline earnings down 9%. They sold 2 stores in Malawi last year, but their revenue was up just 6% in the year. And the Foschini Group, they're up today saying they're going to close around 280 stores. They're moving much more into online. Their online platform's grown 54%. In the US, we're seeing really a big impact from the renewed tension, open conflict really, between US forces and Iranian forces. The Dow Jones is up 0.63. The Nasdaq is up 0.32. The S&P 500 is up 0.5%. We'll also, the gold price at the moment, $4,377.99 an ounce. Platinum, $1,771. Brent crude, $95.28. The rand to the dollar, 16.04 to the euro, 18.60 to the British pound, 21.66. On the Money Show tonight, as I say, Sam Ngumeni, the CEO at Woolworths, Sean Capazario from Aspen. We'll talk about weight loss drugs there. Monjaro is a big thing for them. We'll talk to the Cashbuild CEO. We'll speak to the CEO at Motus as well. Also, in your Shapeshifter this evening, we're speaking to the CEO at F&B, Latanya Johnson. Really looking forward to that conversation. Lots to ask her. Stephen Krutis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. Let's get the latest eyewitness news now with Mbali Dlamini. It is 29 minutes to 6.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. The Department of International Relations has cleared South Africa's ambassador to India, Anil Suklal, of any wrongdoing. Suklal has been undergoing internal consultations with the department following the visit of former President Jacob Zuma to India. In June, Suklal, along with controversial Gupta brother AJ and Zuma, was seen together attending a religious ceremony in India. Ajay Gupta is one of the suspected masterminds behind the state capture era, which took place when Zuma was president of the country. The eThekwini Metro Police Department is taking action against a junior employee who received about 420,000 rand from 71 people after promising them jobs. The municipality updated media in Durban today following corruption allegations around the recruitment of Metro Police officers. It has downplayed the allegations, saying they are not as wide-scale as purported to be on social media. Tabiso Koba has more.
In June this year, the eThekwini municipality received a forensic report from the accounting firm Isiqu on allegations of a jobs for sale scam in its Metro Police recruitment drive. The report, which was commissioned by the municipality, found one employee was paid 420,000 rand by 71 people who wanted to become Metro Police officers. eThekwini's Metro Police Chief, Sibonelo Mchunu,
apparently is not even a part of the recruitment team. He was just a worker working there at the park. He was just monitoring the process and scamming people outside.
Mkhunu says Metro Police jobs are not for sale and has urged people who are being sold these jobs to come forward. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News, Durban.
And the Cape Peninsula University of Technology says allegations of financial mismanagement have already been investigated and found to be without merit. The response follows a march by students to the Special Investigating Unit's office yesterday. Around 100 students handed over a memorandum calling for an SIU probe into allegations involving the university's vice-chancellor and the handling of funds. The SRC also submitted 2 additional documents detailing its claims against the institution, but CPUT spokesperson Lauren Kansley says the university has consistently followed proper audit processes.
Whistleblower reports and accusations that funds are misappropriated are very often lodged by predatory individuals who are positioning themselves to benefit and influence accommodation and institutional resources in their favor. External attorneys have audited various accusations in these reports and found no merit to the accusations.
A fine Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 9 and 11 degrees and highs of between 26 and 27.
Alexandra, expect about an hour delay heading towards Germiston. That's the N3 southbound from Marlborough Drive to Van Buren due to earlier accident. There's also about a 30-minute delay heading into Bedfordview. That's in Edenville on the R24 westbound from Macro Store to the Giluli's interchange. North riding, bumper-to-bumper traffic approaching the intersection of Slovenia Street and Boundary Road.
The top story in EWN, the Department of International Relations has cleared South Africa's ambassador to India, Anil Suklal, of any wrongdoing.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
Opposition parties in Parliament's impeachment committee have accused the ANC of delaying tactics after a majority vote rescinded the recommendation of Thandazani Madonsela as evidence leader. The Section 89 inquiry, which will probe events related to the theft of US dollars from the president's Phala Phala farm, was expected to finalize the decision at a meeting yesterday. Ramaphosa has objected to Madonsela's appointment, believing he's conflicted over work done for the ANC and his removal by Ramaphosa from the Judicial Service Commission.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
702 and the Discam Foundation are shining the spotlight on the health matters you want to know more about. Here's what we explored this month.
Most exciting coming up is Socks for Smiles.
Tell us all about that.
It's a campaign that we are launching with Discam. The idea is that you wear your mismatched socks on the 16th of October. And it's a really fun initiative that we've started to try and encourage inclusivity and celebrate difference. So we want them to wear mismatched socks, and that means going into the Discam stores and buying your 20 Rand Socks for Smiles sticker and supporting this cause so that we can raise more money for more surgeries.
In Conversation on Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by the Discam Foundation, caring for the community on 702.
As a business owner, before you downgrade from the high thread count sheets to save money, rather switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. You could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium for guest houses, boutique hotels, catering companies, tour operators, and all other businesses. Switching to Outsurance Business Insurance could mean more cash for your business. Ready to switch and save? Get a quote today. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000. Licensed insured FSP. TCs and information online.
My favorite
As a
recipe
graduate
is the
professional,
whole
you
family
know
will
success
love.
takes time, discipline, and smart decisions. Retirement is no different. Years of saving and investing help build your wealth so it can support the retirement you deserve. Join us at the annual PPS Retirement Summit on 19 September and gain insights to grow and preserve your long-term wealth.
Because consistent contributions and protecting what you've built all add up. Visit pps.coza/retirement summit now. PPS, success is better shared. PPS is a licensed life insurer controlling company and authorized FSP.
What's for dinner tonight, South Africa? Hiya, Jamie Oliver here. Dinner stress? Forget it. I teamed up with Checkers to bring you some of my favourite recipes the whole family will love. Starting with my gorgeous spring veg stew, one pan, loads of veg, no fuss. Shop the ingredients on Checkers 6060 and boom, delivered in 60 minutes. Every week, 5 brand new dinner ideas. Checkers, dinner done better.
702. WhatsApp John
On 072
702
1702.
Oh, John, I was so looking forward to another flyover from Airlink. But not to worry, Santaka will take over. We're going to be seeing minibus taxis in the air at FNB this coming weekend. So we always have a plan B. This is South Africa, baby.
Hi, John. When it comes to clothes and presents that are wrong, I normally call them wrong. It's all about preferences. I don't buy for people, and I don't expect to receive any, actually. Like enough, my circle of friends and people are not that good in that department of presents. But even my wife, I ask her what she wants. Normally, when it comes to her birthdays or Valentine's and special, I always ask what she likes. I don't just come with presents.
John, I think the flyovers over the stadia at the rugby are great. After all, planes don't crash that often. They only crash sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting debate. One text message puts it like this and says, rugby, planes, one bird strike, no Hudson River. It would drop onto a canopy and 50,000 fans would fry. And this listener concludes with the word stupid. Anyway, It's not going to happen, but please keep giving us your feedback on that. 011 883 0702 072 702 1702. Got some music coming up. Please do keep your suggestions coming. A song that for you signifies spring has sprung and you're delighted. Send those please to us either by text or just drop us a voice note as well. We'll build up a little playlist for later in the show. Right now, though, 20 to 6, it is sports time.
EWN Sport.
Tolakele, Sundowns in action tonight, and bad luck for Scott McTominay. Boy, has he been proving people wrong with his form in Italy, but over to you.
Thanks so much, John, and we start with domestic matters, where Mamelodi Sundowns will look to avoid a giant killing this evening when they go up against promoted Milford in the Betway Premiership. A win for Malibongwe Khoza and his Brazilian teammates will draw them level with league leaders Orlando Pirates, but they cannot underestimate a side who won 2 of their 4 league games so far.
I wouldn't say I'm surprised because they have a lot of experienced players. You know, they've been playing, they've been in the league. So I think that really helps them to keep the momentum going and keeping the team stable.
For Abdeslam Wadu, he was glad to see his Orlando Pirates side finally capitalize on chances created in their 4-0 thrashing of Kruger United. Yanele Mbutuma netted a brace as the Buccaneers extended their unbeaten streak away from home to 17 matches.
There are some games where we create a lot of chances, and we didn't manage to be efficient. That game we didn't create so many chances, and we managed to score 4 goals. Well done to the boys. These goals came in an important moment where we will play the Champions League, we will play the MTN. I think really important for the boys to start to score and to bring that competition in the team. It will be very important.
Napoli midfielder Scott McTominay will be sidelined for a month, with the club confirming that it's due to a minor heart issue that will require surgery. He developed a mild benign arrhythmia which causes irregular heartbeats and will undergo corrective surgery in the coming days. Switching over to rugby's greatest rivalry, where Ruan Nogia says the entire Springbok squad is looking forward to playing at the 94,000 capacity FNB Stadium on Saturday. That game against the All Blacks is the third of the series, which is locked at 1-1, and will see the Boks return to the venue for the first time since 2013.
It will be an amazing experience. I think last week was 56,000 people. Now this week might be 85,000, 90,000 people. So we can only imagine how awesome it will be. No matter where we play, we know what we have to do. I think for us, it will just be awesome to have so much people supporting you. And I think it's all about just feeding off the people and then getting energy from them and enjoying every moment.
And Luandre Pretoria says the Proteas have revenge on their minds when they take on Namibia in a Tri-Series T20 on Friday. That comes after the hosts claimed an 18-run winner in the opening match, while South Africa have since gone on to win their next 2 games against Zimbabwe since that surprise loss.
Our eyes will be on the final, so we'll take it one game at a time. We'll know we have a job to do to win that game, and a good thing is there's a lot of our batters that still need to come off. It's obviously nice scoring a 90 brevies on high confidence. I've got confidence now, but there's still other 4 or 5 batters that can still put their hand up and win the game for us, which is a really good thing. We are a very young, inexperienced, talented group, so anyone on the day can put their hand up and win the game for the team. So it's really exciting. We'll be focused on that.
Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Coming up now for 17 minutes to 6 o'clock, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Charlie, you spoke about that area of the M1 N3, yes. The N3 around Alex, giving us problems. What's the latest?
Well, I'm afraid you can still expect about an hour delay driving through Alex heading towards Germiston. That's on the N3 southbound from Marlborough Drive to Van Buren due to 2 separate accidents. I think one was there by Modderfontein Road and the other one just there at the Van Buren off-ramp. Edenville coming from Kempton Park heading into Bedford View. You can still expect about a 20-minute delay. R24 westbound from Macro Store to the Gilulis interchange. North riding bumper-to-bumper traffic approaching the intersection of Slovenia Street and Boundary Road. Bryanston, you can expect about a 20-minute delay still on the N1 southbound between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. In Poleshof, traffic pressure on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Stonehaven. In Protea Glen, traffic remains heavily backed up on the R559 Main Road opposite GOG Gardens. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
It's okay if you don't know what the Richter scale measures, but do you know how much money Outsurance could be saving you on your car insurance? With Outsurance, 58-year-old Loretta saves a whopping R479 a month on her 2017 BMW 320. Switch to Outsurance. You too could be one quote away from having more money in your pocket every month. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer and FSP, TCs and information online.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
I'm wondering if it is realistic to expect all our youth and future leaders to have that access. I'm thinking looking at government and police stations and hospitals. I mean, how many computers do we see there?
Absolutely. There's obviously a shortage there, and then also the shortage in terms of the skills training, in terms of how to use it. You used the example of a policeman. You might be police trained, but you're not necessarily computer trained. But computer work and dockets become a big part of the role.
Barbara Corcutt, Group General Manager of ICB.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
John Perlman.
On 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Okay, let's do some music on the show. The theme we've chosen for today, songs that remind you of spring. We could have done it yesterday, I suppose, on Spring Day, but I wanted a second warm day. That's the first thing, just to confirm that we're moving into that part of the weather cycle. Of course, we're expecting bad weather again coming up in many parts of the country. Extreme weather is the description, so there's that. But also yesterday we had a fabulous time talking about South African jazz, this in the light of our partnership with Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. We had Buhle Bendalo on the show as well, talking about what it's like to be a jazz musician at the Joy of Jazz over 2 days, September 25 and 26. And some of you really calling up some fabulous contributions to the massive jazz catalog that's generated all over the world. And there's wonderful stuff from South African artists. So we're doing spring, not on Spring Day, but the day after. Songs that make you think of spring, or that perhaps you add to your playlist because you're celebrating the prospect of longer days, birds getting up a little bit earlier, whether you get up with them or not, and of course, just being that bit warmer. Here's one of your voice notes.
Hi, Dither John and 702 Landers. Happy spring. My song would be Nina Simone's Feeling Good. This is Cuba from Montserrat.
Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me, yeah. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me. Ooh, 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 ooh. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good.
Feeling Good, Nina Simone from 1965. I didn't actually know that. This was originally written by the English composers Anthony Newley and Leslie Bricusse, have I said that correctly, for a musical called The Roar of the Grease Paint. Anyway, Nina Simone very much making it her own. Songs, please, that make you think of spring or make you that you use to celebrate the kind of better days that come as it gets warmer. I'm okay with winter, but boy, do I like spring and summer. Back to your thoughts.
Good afternoon, John. The song that will always be my favorite one every year come springtime. It is by David Raffin, who was the lead singer of The Temptations. The name of the song is Everything is Coming Up, Love. This is Sly from Butao.
Love is a flower that blooms in the springtime. In the springtime. Beneath the light of the moon. In the springtime. In the springtime. We're grooving together like two turtle doves. Since I met you, baby, everything coming up. Everything's coming up, oh, baby. Love is a song in the breeze in the springtime. In the springtime. Sung by the birds and the bees in the springtime. In the springtime.
Yeah, started making his mark in the mid-60s, David Ruffin, with his role as one of the lead singers in The Temptations, and then really going out and doing his own thing. Terrific song, that 50 years old, actually. That came out in 1976. We're staying in the US with spring songs. This is a suggestion from Rasipaka Paka, who wants us to play some Donna Summer. Let's hear it.
Something's coming over me. Ooh, think it's gonna hold on me. Got me. Ooh, just the man I hoped you'd be. Ooh, just the man to set me free. You got me. Spring affair. Spring affair. Spring affair and I'm all upon you. Spring affair. Spring
Yeah, also from 1976, coincidentally, Donna Summer's album called 4 Seasons of Love. Back with the music in a moment, but I just want to quickly respond to this because a lot of people are still wanting to talk about Air Link's decision not to do the flyover on Saturday, and this one is a question. What's to be interpreted from Air Link's decision to not continue with the flyover? I don't really know. Now, we did approach Airlink a little bit earlier in the week because what we wanted to do was interview one of the pilots. I was keen to hear what's actually involved in delivering something like that, get in as much inside the cockpit as we possibly can. But they said, listen, they weren't giving those interviews. I would have thought that to go ahead while the South African Civil Aviation Authority is still looking into the matter, they would have looked at that and thought it's just not worth it. I'm sure they would come out and say, with the confidence they've shown throughout this issue, that they are capable of doing this. They've done it before, and they believe they can do it again without any great risk. But if there was, for example, any kind of uncertainty or ambivalence from the Civil Aviation Authority as an airline, I think the reputational risk and possibly the legal risk as well would have been too great. I'm not sure in any case that they could have gone ahead under the circumstances, but that's my interpretation of an answer to a very, very interesting and valid question. 702 Drive, we're going to get back to your music, songs that remind you of spring. We've got a couple of suggestions. Neil Sadaka is the suggestion from Suresh. The song is called Laughter in the Rain. A lot of Donna Summer choices. Let's go back to your voice notes.
Strolling along country roads with my baby. It starts to rain, it begins to pour. Without an umbrella, we're soaked to the skin. I feel a shiver run my spine. I feel the warmth of her hand in mine. Ooh, I hear laughter in the rain, walking hand in hand with the one I love. Ooh, how I love the rainy days and the happy way I feel inside.
Neil Sedaka, Laughter in the Rain. Also from text messages, Jared wants this one by Bismarcky, Spring Again.
Yo, me and Kuzi, this gonna be our new single. And when you hear the story, you say it's alright though. Yo, Kuzi, why don't you give me a cue? One more cue and then I'm ready to go in.
Don't you like when the winter's gone and all of a sudden it start getting warm? The trees and the grass start looking fresh and the sun in the sky be looking at best. Birds be singing, flowers be blooming, a lot of brand new cars be zooming. Fly girls looking the best they could be, and the guys be dookie down, you see. Besides all that, I like the warm weather, cause that's when you can get yourself together. But I like Easter time with a grin, cause when I little used to go to Coney Island, we used to eat a lot of stuff like cotton candy, cause back then it was like fine and dandy. You used to get dressed up in double knits, and your plaid suit jackets is there with the shits. The good old days was back then, and the reason I reminisce.
Bismarcky, Spring Again. It does come round every year. Sounds like people are really delighted that it does. Mimi wants to hear some Lebo Matosa.
Unconditional love. Life is confusion. When you lose your dream, like a candle in the rain, burning down. It gets dark, it gets deep, but the magic stays on and on. Oh, how can you tell? I guess it never.
Mimi bringing it home. Brand New Day by Lebo Matosa. We got another 2 minutes. Let's see how much music we can give you.
Good afternoon, John. A song for spring. What about What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. Kabelin, Pretoria.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands.
What a wonderful world indeed, for all the difficult stuff we have to cover on the show. Boy, there's lots of wonderful people doing fabulous things, trying to keep us in some way on track in this country. I'm John Perlman. Hope you have a wonderful Wednesday from all of us. Good night.
Like much more than I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106.